will train the very best. There's no better team. I will battle every day. It's always been our dream. Pokémon!
Hello, everybody. There we go. Almost forgot to unmute my mic. Hello, and welcome to the D-pad, where I am frantically throwing a few things together because I realized that I forgot before I started my... There we go. Is this going to be correct? There we go. Before we got started on the thing here, we've got a poll to set up. I'm going to do that quickly because I've got about 2.5 minutes before the timer is caught up, and I can't reset that without resetting all the stat stuff on the side there, and it'll be a big pain in the ass. So, let's spin. What do we got? What do we got tonight? Ooh, looks like Gen 2. Gen 2. Okay. And I believe Gen 2 is one that we haven't done anything for yet. Yeah, we've done nothing for Gen 2, so everything is fair game. Are there fossils in Gen 2? I actually don't remember off the top of my head if there's separate fossils in Gen 2. Well, if we land on it, then we'll make our call from there. I didn't think there were. Yeah, I'm just like, wait a second. Oh, was it going to be version? Oh, that's close. It is version. Okay. Alrighty. Alright. It'll be version. Whoop. Let me update our stuff here. We're deciding a lot of starters. Actually, that's not true. I think we've only done 2 so far. Have we even done 2? Yeah, we've done exactly 2. Turtwig and Pombon. Where did I put my Poe? Let's see. So this will be Chikorita and Cyndaquil. Oh no, sorry. Wait, no, this is version. It was version. Where's my head? I'll fix that. Can you tell that that my brain's been in like a weird place today? There we go. Sweet, everything fits. Everything looks good, and we got about 40 seconds to spare. Fantastic. Wunderbar. Oh, I am going to have to... I should just keep this up over here, because otherwise I'm not going to be able to see what gets put in very easily, so... Oh... 20-ish seconds to go there. Okay. Cool. All right, I think we're about good then. Fantastic. I should actually grab this back though, and we'll put that over there. Okay. All right, I think we're good. I think we're ready. And I'm dumb actually because I miscounted how many minutes we had until this thing started on here, because I believe we're actually starting. For some reason in my head it was 22, 22. 28. It is 22, 27, 28. So we got 5 minutes to chill before we hop in there. Sorry for flying through that so much. I completely misremembered what our starting thing was, and I was completely off. And in fact, I'm just going to double check that now, just so I don't completely fuck myself here. But I believe 22, 27, 28 is where we're stopped from last time. So let me just... Yeah, 22, 27, 28. I'm an idiot. Okay. Let's see. Joe put in 100 for Crystal. I try not to taint votes by talking which ones I would want to do, or which ones I think would be the most interesting, because the whole point of doing the poll is to let you guys decide that and leave it as pure of a thing as possible. I've tried very hard to be as close to impartial as I can in my descriptions of the games we've played for the Grand Champion Tournament. Sometimes I've failed on that front, but I do the best I can with it. Let's see. So just scrolling back a little bit. Classic Gold Silver had no access to any fossil besides trading a Chansey for an Aerodactyl and Kanto. Oh, interesting. Actually, we got a minute here. Is it just like me being dumb / others being dumb, or is there the maybe unintended distinction of the real world region of Japan being Kanto and the pronunciation that gets given to the Gen 1 region being Kanto? Is that just a product of like the anime or something that just kind of wound up working out like that? Because I feel like I always catch myself a little bit. I'm like, no, I mean, I've always known it in Pokemon as Kanto, but it's one of those silly what were they thinking things, and you still need to get the ones from Gen 1 to finish the Pokédex. Great. Fat Raichu. Oh, Jesus Christ, we already have this shit going on, huh? Let's see. Fat Raichu from Gold. Nice. Chunky Raichu. I've got too many tabs, so like I'm trying to like get stuff set up in here, and I feel like my hair right this second. I just got my hair cut, and I feel like it's a very Dr. Starline swoosh going on at this moment in time. It's not quite. There's not quite enough going on the very end of it, but the shape of it today is very Starline. They're calling the smurfiest rat anyone's ever seen. I don't recall how they pronounce it in the anime dub. Fair enough. Fair enough. Okay, cool. Just making sure that I'm all like caught up on all that. And there we go. We burnt all but 1.5 minutes there. I need I can probably make this work. I was like, I need a better way to have my keyboard handy for if I need to update poll results without just having it be in my lap the entire time. Oh, now we get like a breather for about a minute. Fantastic. The Grand Champion Tournament, the next video is about 1/3 through editing. Editing is actually pretty fast in the grand scheme of things, but it just like it still takes a while. It should be going up tomorrow. Worst case, it'll be going up Wednesday, but it should be going up tomorrow. Special character's been consistent so far. That's good. It will make it a little easier to. Honestly, the wild part is that the main chunk of that, a word that I should know because I've been in web dev for the last. Oh my god, 12 years to some degree or another. But the part, before the .com has been pretty consistent across all of these. So like, I don't know, feels like it's something that should be easy enough to block. 10 seconds. Oh, we have another 100 for Crystal. There we go. Just in time. And all right, we're off. Let's get to it. All right, we got ourselves a bunch to do. Actually, you know what? I think I'm going to move part of my screen in a second here. There we go. That can work on its own for a sec. There we go. I just want to be able to see my like timer and stuff without. It's frustrating because, like, the size of my little streaming viewer window is small enough that I either have to, cover the stuff on the left or the stuff on the right. And I'd prefer not to cover either, but I don't really have much for... Actually, you know what I can do? I can do this. Let me just drag this over here. I don't need to actually be looking at the game window if I'm immediately copying it over to my streaming thing. So now I can see everything. There we go. That's fantastic. I really don't understand what the special characters are even for. I think that people are going to be like, well, we can't delete them fast enough. Guess I have to pay them. I mean, it's all about law of big numbers. If they can get it spread out to millions of people, then best case scenario, they get like even just a couple, and it just puts it in people's heads. And some people are fucking desperate. Some people are really desperate for anything to get more viewers. So they won't see it as a scam. They'll just be like, oh, fuck yeah, let me get in on that. It also means that by using the special characters, it doesn't just get auto-filtered altogether. which, like Alexpert is saying, is just, it makes it harder to squash. And unfortunately, nowadays, because there's AI bots fucking everywhere, it makes it easy for that to trigger AI bots to then go to the website and start doing things if it's agentic enough. I hate learning AI technology, or terminology rather. I mean, I hate both, but agentic is definitely a word that feels like it did not exist 2 years ago. It might have. It very well might have, because like agent and agency have meant more or less what the AI folks use those words for, forever. But still, it's damn it. It's one of those things where I'm just like, I don't know. Let's see. I need to figure out a way to make the text the text in the stream a little bit more readable or parsable. Maybe I can try messing with the CSS to put like a little bit of padding between individual messages. I'm trying to think what'll make it a little more easy. What'll make it a little easier to read? Because at least for me right now, part of it's because I'm distracted by the actual gameplay that I'm trying to like also do at the same time. But like it just my brain at first is just like, that's just a wall of text. And it's like, oh, okay. It's too bad this Gen 1 you could have been doing shiny math as well. Oh yeah, I've thought about that. I may literally even just do some hypothetical shiny math at the end of this, considering we're going to have fought somewhere around 43,000 or so fights, 43,000 Pokemon. So there's also an expected number of shinies that would have been calculated out using Gen 2 math, not Gen 3 forward, but just Gen 2 math. Because I believe for Gen 1, even on the 3DS, I want to say that it would... I think my understanding is it would squash everything into like Gen 2 format stuff and then readjust so that it would be a 3+ compatible format or something. I don't know. Oh yeah, expected numbers. I mean, you can even see on the side there, our expected numbers are at a certain point, and we're failing on that. Mostly because it's essentially it all boils down to the experience points we're expecting to get in an average fight, which is that 23.3711. And I don't even know the last time we've been above 23 average experience points. We keep getting just inches away, but we never quite get there. Wild Pokemon in grass can't be shiny in Gen 1. Really? I did not know that. That's interesting. Because I know that, like, it figures it out from, like, a weird spot where just, like, by circumstance it winds up, crossing over certain... It's the same reason why Unknown could only be shiny in Gen 2 if they were literally the letters I or V. Only fishing encounters and stationary gift Pokemon. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Well, I guess that preemptively answers our question as to whether Strats is shiny. Because we caught him in the grass in Route 1. So that's a no. I assume just to make it not get caught by cone filled. Oh, yeah, that's the thing from before, yeah. Technically, your starter could have been shiny. It's true, and I don't think I checked because I think I threw away my starter before I checked PK Hex to get the IVs and EVs for the DVs and I guess it didn't have any battle experience yet. Stat experience, excuse me. How come stat experience isn't shortened to like SX or something? Or SXP? I guess it really only matters for such a tiny sliver of Pokemon that it doesn't even matter, but DVs still have a thing. Pokemon Master Sex, exactly. hilarious that nobody thought that one through in terms of like the hashtag Pokemon Masters EX. Oops. So I'm hoping, I'm thinking we get to level 43 tonight. I'm pretty much entirely positive we're not going to hit 44, and that's okay. I was originally hoping to be streaming like earlier in the evening tonight because it's a holiday, it's Memorial Day, but my head has been throbbing all day. So clearly having two bright monitors, a bright TV, and excuse me. There we go. I was going to say 4 bright lights, but it's actually 5 bright lights on me all at once. That'll make that a lot better, right? I forgot the one that's on my desk. Sickest he's ever been. Also, today's not a Cacnea day. I debated it, but I was just like, man, have I had only one of these or 2 of them with an actual camera? Have the rest all been Cacnea streams? Just for some reason, my Mondays are always just garbage. But I can't just keep using that as an excuse to not have the camera on all the time during these. We're going to have 320-ish hours of this game. We may as well not have 300 hours where I'm not even visually present at all. Somebody gets so sick it becomes an 8-bit Cacnea. You could do worse. You could do worse. Oh, God. I keep forgetting how far this route goes. I guess it goes past the kid that's walking left and right up there. But then I also have to walk a lot back, and that's suboptimal. Bad case of stripes, but it's pixels. Could also make it a bit and use different Cacnea sprites. Oh, that's true. That is definitely true. I would need to, like, design some new Cacneas, though, to make that work. What was I going to say? Oh, I bought it's not in yet, but I bought a little mini treadmill. It's meant to be one that goes under a standing desk, but I don't currently have a standing desk. I just wanted to have something that I could trivially kind of hop on and work out on without having to, like, pull shit out or spend, an hour or so in the garage or, what have you. Ostensibly, I can hop onto this thing and still do, like, work, so that'd be pretty nice. The reason that I found out about this particular one was because my colleague at work uses one. Check that sea weather. Oh, check that sea weather. Is that a barotrauma thing? I don't think that's a Wind Waker thing. Maybe Divinity thing? Check that sea weather. I'm going to be embarrassed if it's one of my streams. Oh, or is that One Piece Odyssey? I don't know if CJ's ever getting back into One Piece Odyssey to finish it off. I should ask him sometime. I also don't know when CJ and Felice are getting back into 90-minute Nails streams. Sea weather seems barotrauma-esque, but I don't know. Yeah, I have no idea. I feel bad during the descriptions of games for the Grand Champion Tournament. Describing a lot of Dave and Jeff's streams are going to be tricky because I just don't watch them. I just don't have time, unfortunately. People shouldn't be paying attention during the One Piece streams. It should have been... Oh, no. Well, there may be some down the line. Who knows? Granted, the Let's Rip and Tear series is very much CJ pulling a me and putting together a project that'll take an extraordinarily long time. Honestly, it's kind of wild because when Metroid Prime wraps up later in this summer, probably July, we'll be back into Kirby more than likely. We'll be back into the Nightmare and the Dreamy Let's Play. It'll be exciting to get back into that. I guess there's the question of whether we keep those on Wednesdays and keep this on Mondays, or if we switch them. I don't have a real preference either way there. I just have trouble keeping my attention on streams of games I've never played. That's totally fair. Yeah, that's kind of tough for me sometimes too. Especially if you're not watching from the beginning, so you're kind of playing catch-up the whole time. Completely skipped season 2 of Barotrauma. Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot they did have 2 seasons for that. And I know Jeff was talking about trying to get the Sunday crew back together for more streams. I'm curious if they'll do a season 3 or if they'll try some other stuff. I know that one of the games that they were directly considering doing would be a season 2 of one they've done in the past. But yeah, I don't know. We'll kind of see. I love watching these I've never played and trying to figure things out alongside the players. That's definitely fair. Yeah, blind stuff is always fun. Like if everybody's kind of going in completely blind, that's a good time. I'm actually very excited to be getting into. So I need to put together an overlay for, I mean, at best next Wednesday, but possibly this Friday, depending on how the voting goes in the Patreon poll. But we have one stream left of Metroid Prime 3. I've got my checklist ready to go, and then we're going to go do the final boss of that. And then it's going to be Federation Force, and then we're into Metroid Prime 4. So we're actually coming down to the line there. I wasn't quite expecting the Metroid Prime series to wind up taking kind of like basically a year, because we started it like late summer last year, didn't we? I'm trying to remember when the first one actually went up. I'm trying to remember if we had a break in there. I had a couple work trips that kind of slowed things down, and we had a couple like one-off weeks and things, but I also need to double check. This Wednesday may wind up being a little complicated because I've been asked to jump in on something for streaming that is either going to be very late Wednesday night or very early Thursday morning. And I still have stuff I need to coordinate on my end to make that happen, and I both don't know if that's still a thing or if they found somebody else to fill the gap for it or what. So I need to reach out to somebody to get that sorted. But you guys will get a kick out of it if it does actually happen. So I want to do it. It seems like a fun thing to do. But yeah, it'll certainly be something. I need to do some homework before then. Who am I kicking? You'll see. What may wind up happening? I mean, I got to figure out like what the actual slot is that they were looking to fill, because it was a little vague before, and I made the mistake of like saying like, one of those would probably work okay. Literally they would be looking for something essentially either tonight or Wednesday night were like the two kind of options. And by night I mean like 2 a.m. type stuff. Like it's late night stuff. But we'll see come tomorrow, I think, how that's actually shaking out. 'Cause I've been getting slightly better sleep lately. Not last night. Last night I slept horribly. Holy shit. It's my curse. Mondays I am cursed to sleep like complete shit. I guess I can talk about this a little bit now. I think we're far enough into it that it's probably fine. So I suppose is me being a little bit vulnerable with this, but so I recently, as of like 2-3 weeks ago, so I've had really bad sleep apnea for a while now. I don't know exactly how long, but it's gotten worse as I've gained weight, which is part of the reason I'm getting that little mini treadmill too, is so that it's, borderline impossible for me not to not put some time into that. But so I've had pretty bad sleep apnea. I've snored a shitload and enjoy the increased challenge. That's perfect on like 4 different levels at this exact moment. That's amazing. But so I've had really bad sleep apnea, and I got looked at, I got checked out for it because I wanted to make sure, like, is this just snoring because of just random shit or what? And it was like, no, you got moderate obstructive sleep apnea. The one that I submitted, yeah, oh yeah, that's a good one. So I went to like a doctor to get that looked at, and they're like, yep, you got that. So here's how this will work. And so I have been using a CPAP for about 2-3 weeks now. And there's a lot involved in all of that. The reason that I mentioned like that it's kind of a vulnerable thing to talk about is like there's something about and it's kind of silly because I know a lot of people have sleep apnea, a lot of people have problems with that stuff, a lot of people have CPAPs. Literally, while scrolling through some stuff on Blue Sky, I found 2 people talking about the fact that they either just got or are getting a CPAP. So it's like it's kind of all, it's not that big of a deal, but like I think there's something about the visual, I guess, of like looking at myself with the thing on, because I have one that attaches to the nose, not the whole face. It's not like a whole face mask. But it attaches to the nose, and it has like a bit, and it's basically got like a head harness. I don't know how to describe it, but it kind of like goes up and down and over, and it's got connecty bits and stuff. And how hard is it to make time for sleep study these days? Fortunately, actually, it's very easy. So I figured I might have talked about this part. For the sleep study, it was 2 nights in a row. I had to use this device for at least 8 hours. And it was a ring that I wore on one of my fingers. I think they specifically preferred the ring finger, the index finger, though they also had mention of the thumb, but then another one said don't use the thumb. I did have my ring finger, but it has a little infrared light that it shines, and I think it's got a receiver on the other end that then essentially it's able to do that to it can essentially see your veins, your veins and your arteries, see blood flow and stuff. And I guess that's enough for them to be able to detect everything they need or whatever. Found out that I was having events, as they say. They don't really go much further than that, but an event when in the sleep apnea sense is that you just kind of stop breathing for a sec. Just long enough that you kind of have like a like or that in a light case, or you kind of sometimes it sounds like choking because you've got like saliva that's kind of draining back there or whatever. What I've heard it described as recently is when you have sleep apnea, because your body is really good at automatically trying to stay alive on its own. It's the reason you don't have to think about breathing generally. What causes it is usually like your throat, your windpipe actually just like resting closed, more or less. And when that happens, your body starts to go like, oh, try to push some air, pull some air, try to do something, push, pull, push some air, pull some air. Nope. Okay, push harder, pull harder, push harder. And so your body is like actively trying to keep you alive, for starters. Which is why when you start breathing again, it can sound like choking or gasping or something like that, because your body's like trying really hard to like freak out and get some air moving again. And so mine was a case of moderate obstructive sleep apnea, and I was apparently having an average of around 20 events per hour overnight. I saw someone, while I was waiting to do the sleep study, I saw someone who made a comic about this, and they were having about 60 or 70 per hour. Like literally every minute of the night they stopped breathing for a second or two. So about every 3 minutes I would have like a moment where my throat and my windpipe were just closed enough that I wasn't breathing right. So I got the CPAP. It's a thing that goes over the nose. It's got a hose that comes out and connects to a little device about the size of a football that sits on like a nightstand. It's been, well, the reason I kind of circling back to it again, the reason I'm like, I feel it's kind of vulnerable talking about this is I see what I look like with that thing on, and my brain immediately jumps to like images of folks who are 85 years old with oxygen tanks, which this borderline is. It's very close to that in a lot of ways. Or similarly, folks who are like, on, TLC programs about being, 800 pounds or whatever. And it just kind of hits me in a weird spot, and it puts my brain in kind of an itchy place. And so, I don't know, there's a certain amount of just like discomfort thinking about it a little bit. But I've been using it, and it's been hit or miss. It's real. I'm someone who doesn't like stuff on my face in the first place. Even when I was a kid, I didn't like getting my face painted. It's part of the reason when we do our like long anniversary streams and charity streams, I usually don't opt in for the like put stickers on your face type stuff, because I'm a little bit sensitive about that. I don't know why. It's just a thing that just makes me like, I hate this. So if there's ever a point where I am engaging in like putting shit on my face, know that I'm pushing hard to get through that. But so it's a thing, and it means in the middle of the night I can feel it on my face, which I don't love. And not just like it's a thing on my face, but because it's a hose, it's a light hose, but it is one of those like ribbed sort of hoses. It does have a little bit of weight to it, and it does kind of pull just slightly, just because of gravity. And so like it's enough of a thing for me to notice that it does occasionally wake me up in the night. There's also, I get congested easily, and the solution that this thing has. So what it is, the hose, it literally pumps oxygen. It's essentially a glorified humidifier with air pressure added to it, because there's a little like dish thing that you fill with distilled water that goes through the thing. Better look like a centenarian or on oxygen than a corpse. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I don't love how I look, to myself while using it, but I'd rather that than be dead. So there's a lot of stuff. I would rather be coming to you from an iron lung than be dead. So I'm doing my best with it. I've reached a point where I am sometimes taking it off in the middle of the night, and not just like, so this thing, I should really grab it at some point so I can show you guys what this thing looks like, because I didn't know what one looked like before this, but so it's a harness thing that goes all the way up, and on the back there's two more straps that have little clips that clip to the front with like tiny little magnets. So I'm like taking off magnet things and pulling this thing off my head and like putting it on my side table in the middle of the night. I've only done this twice. The first time was when I was so sometimes if I stream late, I'll sleep in like the spare bed just so I don't wake Sarah up crawling into bed. And I for streaming nights I tend to move I've been moving the CPAP to downstairs to the spare room just in case, because it's easy enough for me to bring it back upstairs if she's still up or whatever. But that one, it was literally like next to me on a pillow when I woke up, and I'm like, oh, that's not good. And it's so interesting because, like, I feel like I've vaguely been sleeping better, but I don't know if that's because of that, if it's a placebo effect and it's been more related to, like, stress things that have been a little bit lighter lately, or if these are all related. They probably are. There's also, like, I don't know. There's little things. So, like I mentioned, I get congested easily, and the solution that the CPAP has for this is that it will, if it detects that it has positive air pressure, so it's adding pressure. The idea being that it's kind of pushing oxygen in to try to force your windpipe to stay open, essentially. And when you breathe in, it pulls it in. Oh, that's good. I've noticed that when I have it on, I inhale slower and longer too. When you exhale, it's able to detect the change in pressure, and it'll actually reduce the air pressure so that you can breathe a little more easily. You're not breathing against this thing. It's been very interesting. It also has, like, I've been having an issue with the seal of the mask lately, which isn't great. Where, like, just enough pressure if I lie down. So you really are meant to kind of lie on your back during this, and that's my least favorite way to sleep. I don't like lying on my back. I like lying on my front. I like lying on my front, and I'll do this thing on my face, more or less. And it's the way that I sleep most comfortably. And I can't really do that with this because it pushes all the shit around and it loosens the mask and everything. There's an app that comes with this. You can track various stats and all of this between like how many hours, how many times did your mask like fully move, how is the seal doing, all that stuff. But I last night in particular, or this morning I guess, I threw it on because I was in bed. It was like 10 o'clock, and I was like, I set my alarm for like noon. Let me put this thing back on again. And I had it on for a little bit, but like the seal was like just loose enough that if I leaned a little bit, it was like, and like just blowing up the side. And I'm like, all right, well, I guess I'm not doing this anymore this morning. I'll have to figure this out later. The other odd one, and I'm still kind of dialing in some of the settings, but the other odd one is for a few nights now, not in a row quite, but pretty close. As I was using it, I could feel that there was moisture in the mask on my nose, and it was enough that like I could feel water. Like it wasn't just, oh, it's humid in there. It was like I can feel like almost trickling of water on my nose, and it's so distracting. And very much makes it hard to sleep. And I'm kind of unsure what to do to adjust that. I tried changing the temperature to not be there's a temperature thing that happens on there, and it was automatic before, and I changed it so it was not active at all. I don't know. After you're sleeping face down, it's hard to get used to other positions. I should sleep upper sideways due to reflux, but it's hard. Yeah. Oh, I get every now and then. I'll get some. I'll get. I don't have like chronic acid reflux, but I'll definitely get it every now and then, and like it'll be tricky to sleep under those circumstances. For I don't know, anyone sleeps face down and can't breathe. Yeah, that's why. So I will turn my head to the side and I'll sleep on my arm. Usually my arm over my pillow, not under, for some fucking reason. I don't know why, but I will sleep face down and just gonna do one of those. Also, the haircut does some weird things sometimes. I gotta. The back is a little dangly. We gotta figure out. We're kind of dialing that into the home haircuts. I'm kind of alternating right now between. We'll do one here and then I'll go to a place and I'll do one here. We're getting there, but. And also, hello, Radar. Hello. Makes me sore instantly. Oh, gotcha. I mean, yeah, that's part of the reason I don't sleep on, like, my back a lot is, like, just the curvature of my spine is just enough with most beds that I'm just kind of like, I feel fidgety. I don't know. But yeah, it's been interesting. So the other thing, too, is only so much of it was covered by my insurance, so I had to shell out like a surprising amount of money for this device that I was like prescribed to use. But they also have rules where, so it's not owned. I don't own this. I'm renting it. It was just a one-time rental fee, I guess. But they are tracking its usage, and in a 30-day period, I don't know if it's in any 30-day period or if it's just over the course of a calendar month, I need to use it for at least 4 hours on 21 nights out of a given month. Or they will essentially take it back. I was like, oh, okay. Which is bumming me out a little bit because I have a very long work trip coming up in June. Literally, I'm going to be leaving on a Sunday, like Sunday morning, and then I'm coming home. Let's see. I'm coming home like Wednesday afternoon the following week. So I'm going to be gone for 10 days. And you might notice that that's more than the 9 days I'm allowed to not use this thing, which means I have to take this thing with me over the ocean for a week and a half. So that's going to be a whole thing. My sleeping position is my right side. I can't get comfortable on my back, and on my left side, my neck gets strained for some reason. I definitely kind of tend to sleep on my right side as well. Left side, I've just kind of trained myself out of because I just, I would breathe really hard out of my nose and mouth, and it would be enough that it would actually wake Sarah up sometimes, like the breeze of my breath. So I've just kind of like, oh, all right. Wow, you're almost 10% of the way through. Yeah, we crossed 7% tonight. So we are about 1/14th. In fact, what would be the exact number? Sevenths are actually not, and the like are actually not too hard to do here. So it'd be 71429 experience points, which will also hit tonight. Yeah, 71,429 experience points would put us just over 14%. No, sorry. No. That is 1/14th, not 14%. But yeah, we are almost certainly going to get below 300 hours left to go tonight, so that'll be good. At the very least, it'll be very close. Do my sense of hearing when I use my arm as pillow, my heartbeat as lullaby. Oh, that's nice. That's pretty good. Sarah likes to snuggle up on me on my chest because she is very soothed by listening to my heartbeat. And I have a hard time falling asleep while snuggling, but I do wind up feeling comfier while snuggling. And then after I'll be like, all right, cool, and I'll roll over, and that's when the sleep will happen. Gotta love American medical bullshit. No kidding. I mean, it wasn't like break the bank expensive, but it was definitely an expense I was not really thrilled for. I think I paid $250 for the CPAP, for the rental of a CPAP. But I guess you can't put a price on not being dead. So, is the motto of the American health system. Oh, hey, do you have one, Gollux? Yes, I have one. I got one. I was just talking about this for a little bit there. I got it about 2-3 weeks ago after going last weekend. Oh, no shit. Nice. I mean, not nice. It kind of sucks, but like it's good that you've got one and that it'll hopefully help. Yeah, no, I had a sleep study maybe like a month or so ago, and the end result was like, oh yeah, you definitely have moderate sleep apnea, so you should probably have a CPAP so that you can keep breathing in the night. I'm like, oh, okay, well, I have a little mini treadmill coming in that'll hopefully get me, like, it's really all about the inertia. Once I start doing a little bit of that as like light workout, it really does start to snowball pretty easily there. Let's see. I guess I've been thoroughly overwhelmed to probably not do anything with sleep apnea stuff. I've been thoroughly overwhelmed to probably not do anything with sleep apnea stuff. I don't know if I understand what you mean. Having a lot less trouble waking up and stay awake. That's good. That's very good. I definitely am still extremely tired in the morning, but I think that's got more to do with the schedules that I keep. We're getting there, though. We're getting there. The start of this year has been kind of a pretty consistent roller coaster of stuff, but things are slowly clearing away. There's a lot of extra stress between a combination of very specific scheduled work stuff along with D-pad stuff for the anniversary. Now that the tournament is kind of on its feet, that's a big relief too. I mean, the machine sounds like a pain. I don't know. I've been okay so far, I guess, but I also think my brother has one and talked about how much of a benefit it was. I've heard that it's really useful, and I feel like I've been seeing some results. I think once I'm able to more reliably have the mask on all night without, like, the weird condensation thing, or me just pulling it off in the middle of the night on in my sleep because, or something. I'm also gonna very quickly, let me just do this. Whoop. I wish it wasn't snapping like that, but sure, why not? That works. Okay. There we go. Oh, if I miss any votes in the poll, by the way, please let me know, because I'm not... The on-stream thing doesn't always do a great job of making it clear that has happened. Also, honestly, I'm also tossing and turning less. That's good. I had a pretty severe apnea, apparently. Oh, no. Oof. Mine was only on the moderate side, I think, as far as they told me. I was having 20 events per night. But, yeah, for me, like I was mentioning before, I'm a person who doesn't like stuff on my face in general. So it's something that, like, I definitely am a little bit, like... I don't know. I'm a little bit, like, sensitive on that, and it definitely kind of jostles me, I guess. Per night or per hour? They usually do per hour. Oh, I was having 20 per hour. 20 things per hour. So about every 3 minutes I was having an event. And yeah, mine is just a nose mask. I think it's the N20. I think that's the one. But it's like a nose mask with like a harness. It looks a little bit, if it was colored black, it would look like bondage gear a little bit. It was over 60. Oh, yeah, that's definitely not great. That's usually, I think 50 or 60 is usually where the severe happens, yeah. 90 would be crazy. 90 would be at a point where it's like, how are you even making it through the night with 90? 60 sounds like a lot. That like being able to turn that down a bit is definitely good. And honestly, so the one that I've got has an app that's attached to it. It's a ResMed device. Or no, maybe ResMed is the people who make the mask part, but the app that comes with it tracks events in the night, and like almost instantly the events are down like a lot. It's both? Oh, okay, gotcha. Yeah, I'm actually curious now. I'll put my thing up here. There we go. Let's see here. Let's see. Events. The worst night I've had with the mask on has been 4 events per hour. Maybe like 4.25. I have yet to break 5 events while wearing the mask, which is like, okay. I mean, that's like a pretty objectively huge result right there. Like, cutting it down by 75% or whatever is a massive improvement. I feel a lot safer knowing that I'm having an event every like 17 minutes as opposed to every 3 minutes, you know? Or sorry, every like 13 minutes as opposed to every 3 minutes, I guess is probably a little more accurate. And that's honestly the worst that it got. I've had only like 2 times that have been worse than 3. A lot of them have been under 2, a bunch that have been less than 1 event per hour. I don't think I've had one that's been a perfect 0 yet. The one night that's showing up as a 0 is one that I barely wore the mask. I wore it for like 2 hours, and then due to, I'm sure, a pileup of problems happening all at once, it felt like it was trying to explode my brain. Like it was increasing the pressure, and maybe I was having an especially bad event. Who knows? But I woke up to a point where it was just like it sounded like a jet engine, and it was shoving air in my nose. And I woke up, and I was like, my mouth was open, and it was like just cycling air in my nose, out my mouth. And I was like, what the fuck is happening? Literally, I was just sitting there going, like I took off all of the stuff, and I was like, okay, I think we're done with that for tonight. And I don't know if it's just because like my nose was blocked, or if I was having like a thing and it was just not getting through, or what. But yeah, it definitely is weird. We've reached a point where like, so when we head to bed, you know, we'll hang out and we'll talk and do that stuff, and it won't be until we're like, okay, good night, where I put the mask on, because I kind of can't reasonably talk with the thing on. Like, it's weird because it does feel like you open your mouth and it's like your mouth has, you know, plus 1 mile per hour of breath happening at a given time, and it's just kind of like it all just kind of comes out. It's very awkward and kind of uncomfortable, actually, to try to talk with that thing running. But awesome that you're down to the 10s and 20s. Sounds like a similar amount then, like 75%, which is great. 1 event per hour, but it's the one where we have to fight Giga Bowser Ganondorf from Mewtwo. Yeah, that's the one that made it sound like a jet engine. That would have been the one. I haven't been having the trouble keeping it closed that I expected. Oh, that's good. I was kind of expecting it to be an issue also, but I did notice that the bottom of the mask puts just enough pressure on the upper lip that it does kind of keep that, makes it easier to keep that kind of closed and tight. You're really not supposed to open your mouth. I said balloons, so that's not an issue for me. Yeah, when I have like streaming nights where I'm going to go late, I was mentioning before, I'll sleep downstairs in the spare room just so I don't wake Sarah up. And for that, like, I'll usually wind up, like, I'll be on my phone for a little bit in bed. At that point, I'll like play a game or I'll read stuff. And I'll usually, once I know that I'm like in bed and good and like I don't need to get up for anything, I'll just throw the mask on then, and I'll be like, all right, I'll do this. And I'll kind of get comfy with it. And then it actually does a pretty good job of making me feel kind of sleepy. I don't know if it's because of an association with it. I don't know if it's just because it's purer oxygen or something that's kind of going through there or what, but like it definitely kind of like, whew, all right, I'm feeling tired. What it probably is actually, if I had to like stake some money on it, my guess would be that the slower, deeper breathing is such a part of like the, standard rhythms of going to sleep and being asleep that my body and my brain are probably like, oh, you're getting ready to sleep now. Is just a guess, but like that's kind of my thought process there. Oh, we're quite close to that 1/14th mark I was mentioning earlier. Kind of really trained myself to breathe through my mouth when I was young because my nose wasn't still often as clogged up a bit. I do that too. I do that a lot. I've been trying to find ways to deal with that. I was actually kind of wondering at one point if, like, and it feels so silly to a certain extent, but I was like, can I just wear the CPAP whenever? Like, if I'm having a work day where I don't have any meetings and I'm just trying to focus and get stuff done, can I just plop the thing down next to me and strap it on and just do that so I can try to focus my brain on just breathing in and out my nose? Not helping things, and I'm sure this is part of why my lips are chapped right now. My lips get very chapped because I do a lot of mouth breathing. I try to not do that, especially, I mean, in general, but especially when I'm on mic. I'm not saying like that thing, which sounds horrible in everyone's ears. But I have done this thing for a while where I'll kind of like, the best that I've been able to describe it is like throat whistling, by which I mean I'll just kind of like, I'll just kind of blow air out. And it won't be like whistling exactly. It's not the same intensity, but I can do it melodically, tonically, and I'll just kind of like hum songs to myself like that sometimes, like absent-mindedly. And I'm sure that that's not helping because it's just more dry air crossing my lips. Probably doesn't help too, just like, I mean, doing recording and streaming stuff. I spend an awful lot of time speaking week to week. Right now I've got 3. Do I have a thing that's happening trying to remember if I have a thing happening Thursday night now too. I'll check at the end of the stream, but I'm at a point right now where I've got like tonight, tomorrow, Wednesday, and maybe even later Wednesday night into Thursday morning. I've got 3/4 streams, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday of the following week, there's all different stream things going on. I may not. There's an outside chance that I don't have that we wrap up. I don't think we're going to finish SMZ 3 with Shad tomorrow, but I think we're only going to have 2 more streams left in total. Shad has has about half of his checks. And I've got about a third of mine, but I was also spending most of the last stream BK'd, and now I'm not. Hilariously, we still haven't found my sword. We still have not found my sword. So that's going to be an interesting thing to follow through on. But I did get the gravity suit in Super Metroid. And that opened up a handful of stuff. I now have 15 more checks I can do. I still can't actually do any bosses. I don't have any boss keys yet. Because the settings that we had included added keys to Super Metroid. Most areas have a key 1, key 2, and a boss key. And in some cases, they don't actually block anything off. They just don't let you use shortcuts easily. Which is especially useful for, like, if you need a specific item to go around the long way, then it becomes fully blocked off. But I think I've got 0 boss keys so far in Metroid, and I don't have my sword in Zelda, despite having boss keys, or big keys rather. So I haven't been able to fight any bosses yet in 2 streams. Meanwhile, Shad has probably fought like 6. So I've got a lot of catching up to do. But on the other hand, once things get started, I'll be moving very quickly in there, so that'll be good. The added keys in Metroid is a crazy thing, to be honest. Yeah, I wasn't sure how it was going to wind up working. In some cases, it does work pretty nicely. In others, it does feel like it's just kind of arbitrarily barring things off. I wasn't paying attention. We passed our thing. 71429. We're now more than a 14th of the way through this. Some bosses you don't need a sword for. The Armos Knights in particular really encourage the use of anything but. Yeah, I think that one is arrows usually, right? The hard part, though, is oftentimes you will wind up needing a sword to beat like enemies that keep you from getting to the boss or something. I think in some cases, too, I have the big key for dungeons I can't reach yet. It's funny we have the silver arrows and one-shot all of them. Yeah. Yeah, I'm hoping I can get silver arrows very early here, but we'll see. Yeah, let's see. So we got a 14th of the way in. What would a 13th be? 13th would still be before we hit 80k. What would that be? That'd be like... It'd be a little under 77,000. So we might hit it tonight. Probably won't, but we could. Because that'd be like 76,900. About 76,000, maybe 76,800. I'm going to guess 76,887. I don't know. I guess I can just use my fucking calculator rather than churning my brain here. 76,923. Okay. 76,923. We might hit that tonight. We'll see. There's only 2 enemies in the game that aren't one-shot by silver arrows as long as it's vulnerable to arrows at all, and that's Ganon, and for some reason the boss of Misery Mire. Boss of Misery Mire, really? Which one is Misery Mire Vitreous? Is it the big goopy one? I'm trying to remember which boss goes where. Because Super Metroid has A Link to the Past. Okay, cool. A Link to the Past has a lot of bosses, so a lot of dungeons, a lot of bosses. Is Vitreous one arrow and the goop and one arrow once it's out? That would be my guess, right? Because then it's more like, okay, it's two phases. Too many giant eyes in A Link to the Past. Yeah, and I haven't fought a single one of them yet. Bums me out. Each of its little eyes takes 1 arrow to kill, but the big eye takes 2. Huh. Very odd. Very odd. One very strange thing about the CPAP is I'm pretty sure I now know what distilled water smells like. I suppose it's probably more the plastic jug that it came in, but still. We were debating getting a water distiller for it, but then we realized that getting distilled water is like $2 and change per gallon, and that's gonna last several weeks. So we're like, oh, okay. It would take a number of years for us to for a distiller to pay for itself, and the hope would be if I like work down my weight and figure out other strategies and things that I may not need this thing for quite that long, but we'll see. The plastic aftertaste still, yeah, it's so odd. It's a very like strange like sensation in there. Even after a weekly washing of all the guts of the machine, yeah, like it's so weird. I don't know. Do get the hammer that's a decent sword substitute, but that's another big ask. I don't know if it works on weirder targets like Moldorm or Landmola. Oh, that's a good point. I forgot that the hammer actually does do, like, normal damage, too. It's basically just a shorter melee weapon at that point. Alright. What was this now? It was 76,923. 76,923. Okay. Has, like, half the sword's reach. Yeah, you may as well be punching the enemies, which I'm a little bit bummed that when you try to use your sword swing, if you don't have your sword, Link just does, like, a punching move. I wish that did damage. Even just a teensy tiny bit. It'd be great to try to, like, fist fight your way through Hyrule. Now, let's see. I'm curious what's going to happen first? Are we going to hit 300 hours, less than 300 hours left to go first? Or are we going to hit less than 40,000 fights left to go first? I think my money's on the weirdly enough, I think my money might be on the 300 hours. But we'll see. The hammer, it also has more delay, but it gets the job done. That's true, yeah. It's just Dark Souls. You have to commit to it a couple seconds before it's gonna land. Alright. Yeah, I think we may hit 300 hours left before we hit 40,000 fights left. I feel like there's a Warhammer joke that can be made about the fact we're talking about the hammer in A Link to the Past as I'm talking about 40k fights to go. Breath of the Wild 3, this time Ganon just takes all the weapons in, and the gimmick is that Link becomes a martial artist. That'd be fun. That'd be kind of neat. One where he's got to use his wits to get by instead of traditional weapons. And less traditional weapons, I guess. Level 1 Dark Souls Run 1. Ugh, man. I don't think I've got the patience for that. At some point, I am going to probably put up a poll to be like, hey guys, let's decide a new thing for me to stream, and several of the baked in options are probably just going to be sequels to stuff that I have streamed in the past. Like we'll get Everhood 2, Dark Souls 2, and Bloodborne. Why not? I'll have to figure out a handful of those and put them all in there. Black Knight Halberd will become less of a nice treat and more of a necessity. Yeah. Tears of the Kingdom already lets you use the Earthquake technique that the Yiga Blade Masters do. That's true, but you do also have to get to that. Also, does it hurt you to use? I'm trying to remember how the rules of the Earthquake work. That'd make for an interesting challenge, actually. A swordless run of Tears of the Kingdom. Yeah. It seems like it's really slow and doesn't do enough damage. You just have to not have a weapon equipped. Got it. It's slow and doesn't do... Yeah, exactly, yeah. It feels like it's there for fluff more than anything. Which is kind of a bummer. Like, it'd be one thing if it was like, oh, when you first learn it, it's garbage. But if you show it... If you try to use it in the presence of Impa or something, like, she'll go, oh... Yeah, well, hang on. I see what you're doing wrong here, and then improves your technique in a way where it actually can do real damage or something. Because you're smashing board. Oh, yep. Take a stick, stick a shield on it, you're ready to go. Oh, man. Okay. Although I suppose, to be fair... As we're wrapping this up, there's a non-zero chance that Pokemon Winds and Waves will be out pretty quickly there. And I feel like that will probably make more sense for me to jump into when that's new. Even though I'm going to be doing one of those for Generational Trauma, I still think it probably makes more sense to just play the game once so that we can kind of enjoy it in full. Not be worrying about Nuzlocke type rules for that. It'll basically be the same as Pokemon Violet, which I think was a good time there. Pairing with a shield that has a weapon on it is damage. Does that break the spirit? Oh! I see what you mean. Does that break the spirit of a no weapons game? That's a tough call. I think the way that I would do it is. If I was writing the rules of an arms-less run, I'm trying to think of the exact word to use for it, but the thing that I think I would say is the only things that you could attach to shields would have to be not like swords or spears or something. If you're going to attach something, it could be a gemstone. I could see an argument for like tree branches and stuff, but I think the same would go for swung weapons. Like you could stick a log on a tree branch and go, "Yep, this is what we got," or something. But you can't use like a sword with other stuff on it or something. You just can't use Min. Yeah. When is Dynamite Heady getting his ticket to Smash Brothers? It's almost time. It actually probably is time technically to start thinking about what's likely to happen with the next Smash Brothers game. I'm still in camp. I'm honestly still in camp. Let Sakurai retire already. But can't spend money. You can't run from battles. Most importantly, you can't open the menu. Wait, what the fuck? There's been one making the rounds from Seer on Final Fantasy V that was truly a great Odyssey. You can't open the menu. How the hell does that work? So you just have to, like, so that, because not opening the menu in FF5 means you can't use items. And you can't heal outside of battle. And you can't spend money. How the hell does that work? Is the idea that you can only like heal in battles and you can only use equipment you find? No using shops or inns. Yeah, because you can't spend money. That seems fucking tricky. Is the idea that if all of your team, that if your whole team falls, then you just lose? That seems like a fucking bonkers challenge. You can't save, so yeah. Jesus Christ. Because, yeah, saving would have to be from the menu as well. Is there leeway for making a save state for the purpose of starting and ending individual, like, chunks of your run? I feel like that's got to be a thing there. Because, like, otherwise you have to do the entire thing in one sitting, which seems insane. Your only classes are, like, Blue Mage, Monk, and Summoner. Oh, wait, you can't change class either, yeah. Jesus Christ. What is the base class in 5? Because I know, like, in 3 it's Onion Knight, essentially, but... Did you save states? Okay. Because I was like, there's no way people are doing this all in one go. Traveler, okay. To not keep the computer on for weeks, yeah. Or Freelancer, okay. Gotcha. I would love to. Maybe that's what we'll do for the 20th anniversary, is kick off a Final Fantasy series. I kind of mentioned this offhand during Metroid last week, I think, when Sam dropped in. So she's started on a Final Fantasy like franchise play type stream thing. She's been playing through each of the Final Fantasy like numbered games, starting with the first through her streams. And I mentioned that separately, Jeff and I had both come up with different ideas for how to do a Final Fantasy series at some point. Mine is much older. I had an idea for a Final Fantasy thing I wanted to do literally a decade ago. And Jeff had a more... It was funny because Jeff's idea leaned a little bit into like almost somewhere into like review territory, but not like necessarily review of like a video game, of the video game, but like a review of sort of, how to describe this. There are video essays that get into this kind of stuff where it's like, it's an exploration of the game world itself kind of deal, you know? Probably can at least put on weapons and shields, but no other armor. Ugh. I mean, it's mostly not hard except for 11 and 14. Yeah, I don't know if she's planning on doing anything with 11 and 14. She may, or maybe she plays those and goes through whatever I don't know what the like base game plot bits are, but that's the thing. Yeah, do the free trial, which for 11 is now functionally a free game unless you wanted to really power level, which if you're just doing the base game, I don't think you need to. And then I don't know if she's got a plan for 14 at all. Aren't you glad you're doing this on Gen 1 so you don't have to worry about shinies? Oh, yeah. Because there's no fucking way 43,000 fights that I get 0 shinies. Although we did mention, Joe Body had mentioned earlier that because of the way Gen 1 works, fighting in the grass means it wouldn't even internally be a shiny here anyway. But if this was if this was Fire Red or Leaf Green, then yeah, I think then any of these could be shinies. And over the course of 43,000 of them, surely one of them would be a shiny, and boy would that be sad. Doing Crystal Chronicles. Oh, Final Fantasy Crystal Chronicles. Yeah, I actually really would love to go back to that. And, well, 1, I would love to do a 4-player game of that. 2, I would love to revive a challenge run I attempted of this back in high school and never finished. I think I've talked about this before, but I had a challenge idea in mind where I wanted to play the game solo and try to beat the game in a way where every season, because I think every time you beat a level, the season advances, or maybe it's every 3 levels the season advances. I forget how it works. But time advances every time you clear a stage, including if you go back and play a stage a second time. And the goal that I had set down was to beat the game in the minimum possible amount of game time. Not like hours, but in terms of like seasons and years in the game. I got extremely far into the game. I think I got down to the last like 5-ish levels, but there's one area where you need to use gravity in order to advance in a stage. And gravity, if I recall correctly, is 2 different elemental spells used simultaneously. It's like Farah and Thundara, or Thundara and Blizzara, or something like that. And this means, and at first I didn't know this at all. The second one was you have to, like, if you're playing solo, you have computer characters, and they don't always trigger their spells in a very predictable way. And I think I eventually just gave up because I was too fucking annoyed trying to get that thing to work. So I was probably like, I don't know, 4 or 5 game years in, and I was within the last like 5-ish levels, and I just stopped. So that's something that would be fun to like go back to sometime. Let's see. Let me scroll back a little bit. Yeah, 11's free trial is being expanded a little with the recent big news happening, so it's not time limited anymore. Yeah, essentially you can freely play 11 up to level, I think, 75 now. And and you can play it as long as you want. I've watched every padlock video. I'm pretty sure you guys haven't gotten many shinies across every game so far. Correct. The least spoiler version that I can give you, in case you're actively watching these, is in the entire course of specifically padlocks, I believe there have been exactly 2 shinies that have been seen. And John and I have been doing padlocks for, and I'll include Fire Red and Leaf Green in this, even though we didn't padlock it. They were meant to be, and then we didn't. But so we've been doing Nuzlocks like that for a little over 14 years now, and there have been 2 shinies in that entire time. So yeah, there was a point where I did the math. I could actually probably pull it up right now because it's in my Google Sheets account. I'll pull it up in between things here. Because I was looking at this recently. Google also changed all of their phone app icons, and some of them look kind of bad. What else is new? Every time they change them, they look bad. Man, where the fuck is this thing? It's in here somewhere. Hang on a second here. Let's be smart about this. Here we go. The file is called... That's what I get for looking down. The file is called D-Pad Pokemon Encounter Master List, because I was trying to calculate very specifically what the odds were of how long it was taking us to find shinies in any of these. It's like beating Majora's Mask in as few cycles as possible, which it turns out is 2. You need your first cycle to get your Ocarina, and then after that, it is possible to, at the very least, beat Majora's Mask in a single cycle. Clearing it, like 100%ing it, just by virtue of the stuff that is split, you would at least need 3, possibly 4. Because a few things are tied together, like the Blast Mask has a bifurcation in what you can get in a timeline, and that actually affects the Anju Cafe plot as well. You want to see? I want to have you do a co-op play so you actually interact with the spell fusing mechanic. That seems like a really cool idea to me. I like that. Yeah. And I mean, I'm also down for doing it. Like, I love an excuse to play multiplayer games that are designed around multiplayer for like a core mechanic reason other than just being a multiplayer game. And I think Crystal Chronicles does great for that. Imagine most of your shinies showing up during something like this and just having to KO them all. That would devastate me. Seeing, possibly several, possibly dozens, maybe even hundreds of shinies and having to knock out all of them would be awful. I want to say you can make your Moogle cast one spell sometimes. Something, I don't know. Since it doesn't have tier spells, you make it. Oh, you're right. It'd be like fire, and fire makes Fira. Or Fyra, or whichever. But yeah, I think it's 2 separate elements together make gravity. Or maybe it's all 3. I don't remember. Remember 1 shiny, but I'm not sure if it's just because I haven't watched any of Heart Gold Soul Silver yet, or if I forgot the second. The second actually came pretty quickly after the first, if I recall correctly. They were in the same game. The only other hint I'll give, I guess, on that is it's the game that gave you the most trivial means of making your odds as good as possible. 1 was by sheer dumb luck, and 1 was kind of on purpose because we were burning time anyway. Bless my shiny math for unlocking the mythical final recorded Ultra Sun episode. Yeah. Man. I didn't realize that we even still had one. I could have sworn that I'd put them all up, but alas. That's how that goes sometimes, I guess. Let's see. Herp. Oop. Yep, there we go. Alright, where is this thing here? Okay, here we go. By my math, the first shiny, and I'll keep details out of like the specifics so that it's not spoiled as to anything from there, but like the 5,804th encounter in a padlock. Actually, not just in a padlock, in all of our Pokemon content. Because I'm including like Pokemon Sword in there. So in all of Pokemon that we've done on the channel, it took 5,804 encounters for a shiny to occur. And at that point, the odds of a shiny having happened by then was over 76%. The odds of continuing to not have a shiny at that point were less than 1 in 4. You need to do the Anju Cafe plot all the way to the final night twice, once for the mask, one for the last bottle. Yeah, because the bifurcation there is who you give the letter to. Because you can give the letter to... Technically, you can do 3 things with it, but you can either give the letter to Cafe's mom, the Madame Aroma, I think. And I think she gives you what? She gives you the piece of heart? Or no, she gives you the last bottle. If you give it to the postman instead, he'll give you the postman's hat. So that needs to happen twice. Technically, you can also give it to the hand in the toilet in order to get the piece of heart there, but you can do that on a different loop with other things. Like all of the deeds, I believe, can also substitute there. Yeah, title deed to the hand on the first cycle is there. Nothing you do with it then. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, you get that out of the way early, and then you're all good. But so there's that bifurcation on Cafe's letter, but there's also, because the blast mask, I forget if it's if you do or don't stop the guy from stealing the blast mask, then it changes how, because like Cafe's secret bunker is behind the curiosity shop, and I think that the guy that's there isn't there under some circumstances. I forget. You have to let him steal. That's why I was like, I could swear that usually if you're doing that the entire way, you just don't involve yourself in the blast mask plot at all, and then you're good. Specifically, I had a cool idea for a magic system that combined FF8's draw stock junction magic system and Crystal Chronicles' cooperative casting mechanism. Okay. Spell drawing would be a cool system in a better designed game. If you're smart, you give the title deed. Yeah. I've seen both sides of the shiny luck coin. Oh, man. It's one of the... so we've used a handful of... oh, no, I'm going to forget her name now. We haven't used her music lately, but... Oh, Glitch City. We've used her music before for various Pokemon series, and she's done, like, shiny hunting streams and stuff from time to time. And it blows my mind that there's folks who will do shiny hunting, both, one, because it sounds miserable if you are not lucky. If you are not making luck happen, then, oh God, what a pain. But on the flip side... there are some folks who just like roll in and they end their stream with like a dozen shinies, and it's like, how? And finally got a Lechonk about an hour and a half in, followed by a Sunkern about an hour later. Dang, nice. My shiny luck definitely turned around a bit, starting with Legends Arceus. Obviously, there's the scripted one that's in the game with the Ponyta, I believe. But later on, I got a shiny Machop. I had to play through the game twice because I had two different accounts. And I used the wrong one for Legends Arceus before I realized that I needed to do my other account so that I could see Arceus in Brilliant Diamond. Between the two of those, not hunting for shinies at all, just grabbing stuff when I see it, I think I got like 6 or 7 shinies. I think 2 of them were as part of the actual Let's Play. And I want to say it was a Machop and a Paris. Paris was wild because Paris almost looks unrecognizably different, even when shiny. And then in Pokemon Violet, I got through the whole game, and the entire Teal Mask, and the entire Indigo Disc, and it was like nearly the end of Indigo Disc when, at the very end of a stream, I wound up finding a shiny Charmander. And it was like, I've put like 100 hours into this game, and right at the end, I find one shiny. I was happy that I did. I think I named it Clover in honor of my OG starter in Fire Red, Clover / Cloverfeld. And I was like, this will probably be the last time I use Clover. This seems like an appropriate way for me to retire that name forever. Meanwhile, Legends EA, I didn't get a shiny until post-game. Oof. Being an Alpha Malamar. Wow. Oh, man. That had to be an interesting scuffle to wrangle that one. Dang. I don't think we've seen a shiny, a non-scripted because of the Mareep, but like a real shiny in ZA just yet. Nowadays, you can do a lot to optimize it. That's true. There's a lot that you can do to increase your odds. I think Let's Go is still the one that gives you the best boosts to that. Some areas make it easier than others, like caves and stuff are really easy because the pool of Pokemon is pretty narrow. At least shinies in ZA have tripled the catch rate, which made it easier. Yes, that is very true. I think that's a great improvement, just because it's such a pain to look for them in the first place. And then there's also that, like, if a shiny spawns that doesn't have an escape trigger of some kind, like they're just one of those, flighty Pokemon that, like, freak out and leave, then they won't despawn the way, like, unless you, like, teleport away, then they won't despawn the way that others would, which is kind of nice, too. I think I stumbled into around 4 shinies in ZA, maybe 1 or 2 in Arceus, and 5 or more in Violet. Dang. I saw a free set for a shiny Latias in the DLC. Ooh. It's nice with the increased catch rate to be able to more easily choose the ball aesthetic you want. That's fair, yep. Shows love. Oh, that's a nice one for that. I think that's cool. Very, very nice. Let's see. I think we're just barely gonna, not even just barely, we're gonna miss by like 100 experience. I'm like, are we gonna get level 42 before we go back to Mom's house? No. That's okay. Alright. And I think we're gonna be pushing for that 43. It's gonna be a close call there, but oh, also, we're down to just 10 minutes over 300 hours left to go, so my bet that we would cross under 300 hours left seems to be holding quite strong, considering I need to get through another 400 battles without bringing that timer down another 13 minutes. Yeah, like, we're going to get there within, like, 2, maybe 3 fights here. I don't think I've found a shiny, but I also haven't tried or played a lot of Pokemon relatively. I mean, that's fair, yeah. Oh, have a good one, Joe. It's funny. I've been playing Pokemon minus a little blip in like the early 2000s. I've been playing Pokemon pretty much consistently since the beginning. And I didn't play Gen 3, and Gen 4 I played a little bit of Diamond. I played maybe half or so of Diamond and then bailed on it, and then Black and White came around, and I came around on those big time. I was like, oh, okay, these are great. Whoops, damn it. In Pokemon, I forget if it was Black or White. I think it was Black. I did catch a shiny Tangela named Medusa. It was my first shiny ever. And then I did not catch another shiny. So that was in, I think, 2010. In 2010. And then I didn't catch another shiny in any game, in any Pokemon game, until about 2 years ago. I went a good, 14 years between shiny catches as someone who plays Pokemon pretty regularly all the time. I played Gen 5, 6, 7, 8, a little bit of 8, and 9, and Legends Arceus, and it took, and all the remakes in between stuff, so Pokemon Let's Go, Pokemon, Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire, Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl. It took straight up 14 years for me to catch my second shiny. Non-scripted. And I think it was that Machop, and I want to say I named it Atlas. I think I named it Atlas. I would have to go back and check. My first shiny was when I emulated Japanese Pokemon Black. A Dwebble! Oh, that's fun. Thankfully I got it off there into legit hardware later. Nice. Yeah, it's fun to be able to figure out, okay, if I get myself an R4 card or something, I can plant this entire game in its save file onto a fake DS cart on a real DS, and then I can do a trade or something. I got a few random ones in X and Sun as well. Don't think I stumbled into any in Shield. Yeah, I didn't find any in X. I didn't find any in Alpha Sapphire. I didn't find any in Moon. I didn't find any in Insurgents. I don't think I've seen a single shiny in Insurgents. And I'm up to, 150, 160 episodes of that now. What was after that? I didn't find any in Let's Go. I didn't find any in Shield for what chunk of that I played. I think my first one was in Legends Arceus, and then I got my one in Violet as well. Found a shiny Wurmple in that game. I was definitely late to the game when it came to Pokemon, thanks to being brought up in a religious household. But I did emulate Sapphire to play behind my mom's back. Nice. Found a shiny Wurmple in that game. I think that was the first shiny I ever found. Nice. Very cool. Yeah. Speaking of, I guess that's kind of in the realm. So this weekend, I'm going to be hopping on Shell Shock Prime's podcast. We're going to be talking about Pokemania. The Pokemania of the... There we go, under 300 hours. The Pokemania of the late 1990s, the mid to late 90s. And there was definitely a point in time where the treatment of Pokemon by the broad public, at least of like the Gen Xers and especially the boomers, it was treated the same as like D&D in terms of the way it was getting demonized by folks. There was definitely a certain amount of like satanic panic type blowback from the adults, essentially, when it came to Pokemon, which is wild. Like there were recordings of sermons and stuff where some preacher or whatever was talking about how Pokemon is evil because of XYZ, and it's like, what are we doing? Oh my god. Fortunately, I managed to duck most of that. I was raised Catholic, but we left that whole thing when I was like 12. My parents, if I recall correctly, my parents were were getting increasingly concerned because this was around the time, and we also lived in Massachusetts, and that was like the center of the atom bomb that was all of the like revelations of the late 90s. Because the focus of, the movie Spotlight, I want to say, focuses on the Boston Globe and all of that stuff. And my parents were not thrilled about the stuff that they were finding out. And I found out much later on. I don't think I found. Oh no, I think I found out at the time. But like the brother in charge of the Catholic high school I went to quietly wound up like leaving the school between years at one point, and there was some confusion as to whether that was because of stuff. But my parents were very kind of on that stuff by the time I was 12, and at one point, I forget if it was my mom or my dad, sat me down on like a Sunday morning, and at that point I was doing CCD. I had been baptized, but I hadn't been confirmed, and I was in classes to like go through like confirmation and all that stuff. And they asked me, it was like, hey, so do you like want to do this? And I was like, not really. Like I was just point blank, like, nope. They're like, oh, okay. Well then, yeah, we won't do that anymore. And I'm like, oh, sweet. Okay. So we're not going today then? And they're like, yeah, we're not going to go today. I was like, awesome. And I went and played video games. I was not very interested in it in like a spiritual sort of way. I think I mostly did it because it seemed like it was expected of me. But I was never really religious in like that sort of a way, I guess. But in terms of, I don't recall Pokemon ever being something that came up in any of those in that environment, though. Like I don't remember it ever coming up in any. I was going to say eulogy. That's wrong. Sermon, or what's the other word for a sermon? Is it a homily? I forget. There's another word for like the main part where like the priest talks for a while during mass kind of deal. But regardless, in terms of legit copy, my first is an Alolan Geodude and Go when that shiny was first released. Nice. First 3 shinies were 2 Golbats and a Medicham from grinding in Victory Road and Pearl. Hilarious. That's kind of fun, though, because shiny Crobat, I think, is pretty rare. They basically reverse the colors for Zubat and Golbat, and then Crobat is green? Or am I getting that all mixed up? I might have that all mixed up. I remember having to put off saving in DQ8 because I figured my mom wouldn't like having to confess to a priest. Oh, that's right. Dragon Quest, through all of that, you save through confession. That's a good point. My folks never took an interest in what I did, so basically I did whatever I wanted as long as it wasn't rated M. I still don't know why Perfect Dark got an M when GoldenEye 007 only got a T. That's a good point, actually. I don't know. In fairness, I've never played Perfect Dark myself, so next up, Zubat and Golbat become green with pink wings. Crobat is pink with green wings. Okay. Yeah, most shinies have some pretty cool looks to them, though. I like that. It's kind of funny. My mom was either unaware of the panic or just didn't actively join in until around the time of Gen 3 or 4, since it had a VHS of the first movie as well as the book version of Bye Bye Butterfree. I didn't know they made a book version of that. That's fun. That was such a sad episode. I think it was like the first sad episode of the whole series. Assuming you don't count episode 2, or was that episode 1? Is it episode 1 or 2 that ends with Ash and Pikachu in the rain and like legit trying to survive? I think that might have been episode 1. But yeah, Bye Bye Butterfree I think was the first like properly sad one. It's the first time one of his Pokemon actually like left for good. That happens in episode 1, yeah, because then he steals the bike. He steals Misty's bike and makes it to the Pokemon Center, and then like episode 2 is all the aftermath of that. I think episode 2 is where he catches a Caterpie. Episode 3 might be when it evolves into Metapod. I think episode 3 might be the Metapod battle. And I forget if he gets a Butterfree in time for the Brock fight. Episode 2 I thought was Viridian City with the Team Rocket debut and Pika Power. Yeah, it was definitely Team Rocket debut was definitely episode 2. Because the first episode is literally the only episode, as far as I'm aware, of the entire run of the show that didn't have... Actually, I take that back, because I think Jesse and James got sort of reworked for Black and White to be actually like threatening and stuff. So maybe in the Gen 4 era, they scaled him back. But for a very, very, very long time, Team Rocket was in every single episode, minus the first one. Butterfree is a training wheels Pokemon. Oh, absolutely. It's nice to have a fully evolved Pokemon that early in the game, though. Even doing Nuzlocke doesn't hurt to have a Caterpie or a Weedle because you can get them fully evolved so fast, and they can kind of carry your team for a little bit. Team Rocket appeared in every episode from episode 2 up until Unova. Yeah, where they sometimes had absence because they were plotting big things. Okay, yeah. But then that fell apart. Thanks nature. Oh, right. Wasn't that was it Fukushima? The disaster, the tsunami with that hit the power plant and all of that, like, wound up really doing a lot there. I mean, obviously it did a lot in general, but like wound up having a pretty big impact on what they were doing in the show too. Because then they also went back to being goofballs after that too, right? Part of me is still baffled. The Gotta Catch 'Em All anime didn't capture more than 57 Pokemon in the whole. Yeah, because it seems like he basically would catch. I don't know. I mean, in fairness, this is all osmosed from reading like articles and things, but like he would basically at the start of a new generation, he would almost always get a starter pretty quickly, and then he'd catch like. Usually then his buddies, whoever he was traveling with, would wind up with the other starters in one way or another. And then he would catch like 2, 3 other Pokemon from the region. And that would just kind of be it. And it's like, I get that it is hard to keep him feeling like he's got a consistent team or that he cares about them at all, if he's switching them out all the time when he catches new ones. But, yeah, making it just about catching does kind of make the whole Bonds thing all... Yeah, which is also part of what makes, I think, Nuzlocke very interesting in terms of, like, what they stand for. And also, one of the major gripes we had about Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee when the premise of that game very much became catch as many Pokemon as you possibly can. It's the only way to guarantee your Pokemon will get stronger. It's like, oh, I don't think I like that. The candy grinder, grinding your friends up into candy. Yeah, absolutely. Oh Honestly, seeing the logical conclusion of that with Go and the Gen 8 anime, I'm fine with how they handle it with Ash. Oh, did Go wind up being, like, huge on catching everything he could or something? I don't know a lot about, like, late era Pokemon, like, storylines or anything. Hey, level 42. Before we hit 24 hours. So there we go. We've proven that in less than 24 hours, you can grind a Pokemon to level 42 on Route 1. Let's do a quick save. Yeah, okay. Go had like 1 or 2 Pokemon they consistently kept with them and otherwise just caught everything. Okay. Interesting. And you never see him again. Alright. I think that does at least give you some... It's nice to give you the contrast there of someone who's very interested in catching them all as compared to your main character who's more interested in the bonds of friendship and everything. I feel like Geostellar would make a great Pokemon trainer. It's big on his brother bands and all that. There we go, guys. 24 hours on Route 1. Holy shit. 24 hours and just 300 more to go. I remain curious as to whether we will do this in under 300 hours or not. I know that the estimated time left is 300 hours from now, but it has been steadily coming down because of like just the speed that we do these at. Right now we're sitting at a little under 324 hours as the estimate. I'm curious if we can get down there. I think I made my bet that it was going to be in the ballpark of 310. But who knows? Famously, Mega Man RPGs have great systems involving pitting viruses against each other. Yeah. Oh, God. Let's see here. I don't think we're going to quite get below 40,000 fights left to go tonight. I don't think that's going to quite happen. We'll be very close, but tonight we've done a little over 200 fights so far, and we would need to do almost 400 more. Oh yeah, just beast. I still love the idea that the virus is not itself Jizz Beast, and it's not that it's a Pokemon type thing where it yells its own name, but that it is in fact called Cumdle, and it just yells Jizz Beast because that's just what its cry is. Cumdle, the Cumdle Pokemon. Jizz Beast. Oh man. Oh, I've talked about this before. I need to put together some kind of voice acting demo reel type situation at some point. I really need to call that Convergent Evolution. Oof. Oh God. You're not wrong. But yeah, I wanna put together a demo reel at some point. I need to think of what other. Also, yeah, hey, see, dude. I also need to think of like what characters like I should make a point of including in there, because like there's some that I have clips that I can pull from other places, and others that I probably just want to do them fresh. Because I've got like my Bud Bison, I've got my Eggman, I got an okay Sonic, I think. My Geostellar is just like nasally kid voice. Somewhere I had written down a list of ones that I wanted to, focus on for it, but... Oh, and Big the Cat. Now that I've actually gotten a role as Big the Cat in something, I should probably make a point of both putting that on stuff and also practicing it more so I can do it a little bit more readily. Oh, It's No Use, yeah. Oh, Silver, yeah. Silver's one that I can do okay as well. That one's just like crank up the whininess in my own voice, and I can pretty much do that. That's not even a tough one. Fortunately, I've been getting a lot of practice with that because that's the voice I use for Silver/Santa in 999 as well. I miss the D-pad cinematic universe, I like to call it. Yeah, I miss that too. The meta plot type stuff. It's just we've reached a point where it's just not super feasible to keep that going, just because we don't all live within like a square mile of each other anymore. Like everybody's a little bit more distant, so it's a lot harder to write stuff and be like, oh, hey, Ben, are you doing anything tomorrow, like after work? All right, let's record this thing. Now it would be like, oh, are you busy next week? You need to, if you can come drive an hour and a half out here to record this silly thing and then drive on home. You had a full day of Rat. Congrats. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed you do. One of those reboots where half the cast is missing, yeah. Oh, is that 200 for Silver? Oh my goodness. We've got so much silver coming in. There we go. I count 3 of those so far. Oh boy, the battle is on. The battle is on. This one's interesting to do between. Speaking of silver, am I right? What do you mean? That should be a full 300. Yes, it is. Oh, speaking of silver, am I right? Got it. Okay, yes, because we were just talking about Silver the Hedgehog. Yes, okay. That was what I thought C-Dude was talking about first, was like, yeah, right, silver. And then I was like, oh, wait a second, let me check the chat, like, on the Twitch side. It's like, oh, yeah, that's an actual vote. So that's 300 for silver, 200 for crystal, and nobody wants gold, which is the correct choice, because Ho-Oh's boring. Ho-Oh's just more Charizard, he said, intentionally stoking the flames. It is admittedly when I was a kid looking into like getting my own Gen 2 game, that was part of the reason I didn't want gold. Aside from the fact I thought Lugia just looked cooler than Ho-Oh, once I realized that Ho-Oh was also fire flying, I was like, oh, well, no, I don't want that again. Ooh, we got another 100 for crystal. We got ourselves a fist fight, ladies and gents. And NBs and everything else outside and in between. I'll leave the rest to destiny. We gotta leave it to fate instead. Destiny's a piece of shit. Guys, gals, non-binary pals. I've heard that exact phrase before. Who uses that? Or is that just kind of a common sort of phrase at this point? I could swear that I have seen someone either on YouTube or Twitch who uses that exact from many places. All right, fair enough. Because I wasn't sure if that was a more like widespread one or if that was like a pretty specific use that's kind of done its thing. How are you feeling about the future of the Supersonic Let's Play, considering what games are next? Interested and excited. The next chunk of the Supersonic Let's Play is entirely stuff I've never played before, so I'm actually very interested in that. I'm pushing so hard to get a live intro out for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds this week, so we can get into and done with Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, and then move back into our actual scheduled stuff for that. Maybe a terrible day, but better than Dancing with Death. Oh, God. Good luck capturing the Dig. Yeah, I need to figure that one out. I'm trying to remember. I don't even think I have my hands on that yet because I figured I would deal with that when we got closer to it, and now we're pretty close to it, so I gotta sort that out. But that is I think that's the last edutainment game we have for Sonic. We've had so many of them. So many edutainment and younger audience games of Sonic, and I think that's the final one. It's going to be it's going to feel like a nice nostalgic trip, though, to do another one of those. So I'm excited for that. But yeah, no, I've never played Sonic Unleashed. I've never played Sonic Colors. I have technically played Sonic Lost World very briefly. We actually recorded stuff for it, and I think that was stuff that never made it online because we had something got corrupted on one of our hard drives. We were playing it back in 2014-ish or something. It was literally just a random thing that we wanted to do because there was Zelda stuff. There was a Zelda level that was included, and we just never... It was too broken, so we didn't wind up doing it. But watching... Oh, I'm going to mispronounce that horribly. Chari? 5's Everything Wrong with Sonic Edutainment video? Oh, man. A whole video of Sonic Edutainment stuff sounds amazing, actually. Showed off his recording setup for Sonic Dig, and oh boy. Oof. Does the Dig actually have any video outputs at all? I could swear that I looked this up at one point, and I was trying to figure out how this was ultimately going to work. Whoops. Probably helps if I spell Dig correctly, though. I might actually own the game at least already. Oh, yeah. Right, it's the Leapfrog. That's right. It's a handheld thing. Yeah, I'm going to have to figure that whole thing out. That's going to be a whole ordeal. That might be something I research in my spare time when I'm in Europe in June. I'm gonna be in Europe for technically a pair of work trips, but they're back to back. So I'm literally going from one country to a different country before I come back home. Oh, I should double check whether I need to do anything special for that. Actually, the travel between those two countries, because traveling to either of them is fine from the U.S., but traveling between them, I just got to double check. I don't need to do anything particular there. But one of them is like a work offsite outing type thing. So I'll mostly be busy the whole time for that. But at night in the hotel room, it'll be whatever. And then I have a hackathon that I'm helping out with, and I've got 3 days in between those where I'm just going to be in between those two countries. And realistically, assuming I can fix one of my flights that's happening there, I'm hoping to spend 1 day actually exploring the first city I'm in, and then fly the next day, and then explore the city that I'm going to be in during my third free day. Because I've never really had the opportunity to go and walk around and explore much in Europe before. The most I've ever had was so I went to Scotland. Sarah and I went to Scotland for Beeble's 40th birthday, and we actually got to check out a couple places in Scotland and walk around and stuff. And I will say, Edinburgh feels so much like Boston. It's crazy. It's actually almost a little unsettling how similar they feel. It is lovely. It's a beautiful city, but the stuff that we were actively doing among our group of 5 was a little bit like, I could do a lot of this stuff in Boston, as opposed to why don't we go and do, But before that, we were in Inverness, and that was gorgeous. Oh my God. Beautiful, scenery. The river is lovely. Walking to the shops was great. Good restaurants all over the place too. We found a tavern that we liked hanging out with. I think we went to that tavern every single night we were in Inverness. I felt the same when I was in London. I think Boston's a European-style city, kind of. That's probably ultimately it. I think part of that is probably helped quite strongly by the fact that Boston was not a planned city, and the same goes for most big cities in Europe. It just kind of grew organically out of more primitive kind of setups. And Boston was very the same. Boston existed for however many, years and years and years before we paved the streets. And I think that probably adds to it a decent amount. Not to mention all the history that's in Boston, and even stuff like Boston's got cobblestone and brick streets in spots. So, I think that it just, the vibe is very similar, probably because of a lot of that. Inverness was gorgeous. I highly recommend if you ever have the chance to go to Inverness, go to Inverness. It's lovely. We took a trip down to Loch Ness to check out Urquhart Castle. The ruins of Urquhart Castle are also beautiful. Very striking scene. Got to learn the history of it, including up to the fact where it was being assaulted by... Was it the McDonald's? Or was it... I forget if it was the McDonald's or if it was someone else. And I guess the Crown decided that the castle was not worth... It was both not working out trying to defend it, and also they didn't want the enemy to gain control of it, so they just blew it up. Like, they blew it up with, like, gunpowder and dynamite type stuff. And so what remains now is what, was the result of that. But yeah, Urquhart Castle was amazing. Loch Ness was great. Inverness in general is beautiful. We walked around a bunch. There was so much to kind of walk around and see. Don't bother with Inverness Castle. We went to Inverness Castle because it is like, so there was a real person, Macbeth. The story of Macbeth is a dramatization of a lot of things, including merging the actual person Macbeth with it was like Donald or something, but there are two people that are kind of fused to make the character Macbeth, but the castle there is the actual castle that Macbeth lived in. And we were kind of like, oh, maybe we'll go in there. There'll be like history. Maybe there'll be kind of like history of Shakespeare type stuff in there too, just to kind of like pull that all together. The end result was, oops, it's a tourist trap. It's very much a tourist trap. You walk in, and the first thing they do is they show you the rose window. It's a beautiful rose-shaped stained glass structure that was I was gonna say revived. That's not really right. Replenished. I don't know. Whatever the fucking verb is when you fix like paintings and things that have gotten old and weathered. But they brought it back. Restored. That's the one. Restored. But they restored it. They don't have it outside anymore, but they have it displayed inside. And as we sit down, they're like, "Yep, we've got kind of an intro for you." I'm like, "What?" And all of a sudden, it became very much, yo, Shell Shock, hello. We're at level 42. I'm just informing people of my interesting Scottish vacation. Oh, Jesus. They've been blocked by a longtime friend for... Oh, God. Oh, hopefully... Sorry to hear that. Hopefully that's something that can either, I don't know, get, like, worked out, or at least you can kind of understand what wound up happening there. Dang. That sucks. I'm sorry. Videos you can tell... After adding a sin for the title screen, it spends a solid 4 minutes talking about the mess that was recorded in the game. Nice. Find Plesio Surf. I did wind up... I think I took a picture or a video making a joke about that. I'll have to see if I did or not, because I was definitely thinking about it. Also, hello, Zachareth. But yeah, we sat down in this room, and all of a sudden, it became very much like a theme park attraction. By which I mean, all of a sudden, the speakers came to life, and you hear these voices say, "I am the spirit of the Highlands. I am the spirit of the Highlands. I am the spirit of the Highlands." And we're like, what? And this, like, twinkling, like, pixie dot type thing starts moving around the room and is, like, being rear projected onto stuff. And it's like, oh, no. And it was very much like a, one of those type, remember us. We're the spirit of the past moving into the future. You're like, what the fuck is this? Following that... Oh, this was after we were led into the room that I made a joke on the Discord that was Kingdom Hearts in Scotland hits different. Because they were like, oh, step in here. It'll take you 5 minutes. And then we'll lead you in. And it's like words on the thing there. One thing I've learned in many years of adulthood is that you talk to people when you have a problem. And you didn't do it. It makes me feel, fuck. Yeah, no, that's the number one thing, honestly. I've got very little patience for fucking around. these days, like, if someone has something they want to say to me, I'd prefer that they said it when it, crosses their mind, as opposed to letting it stew and boil, and then either they blow up or they just, walk away altogether. That shit sucks. That super, super sucks. And yeah, don't feel like it's totally fine. Don't feel like you have to, like, keep that bottled up. That's a lot to kind of deal with there. But yeah, the long and short, we got little audio things which were like, go up to a thing and press the button, scan the thing, and then you can hear what the thing is all about. And it would be lots of little things of Scottish history and heritage and stuff, which is fine. But the voice that was on the audio file would speak at about this pace. So if you wanted to learn something quickly about something that was on the wall of the room you were in, it would take you a while to get a single thought through to completion. And it was slowly driving us crazy. Sarah was the first to be like, I'm just going to walk through a bunch of these rooms and get to the end of it. It's like, all right. And then at the very end of it, so we got through to what seemed like the halfway point, which brought us to like the food court. And then it's like, oh, let's get a quick snack here. We'll get a drink. That was where I tried Iron Brew for the first time. I actually liked it quite a bit. I have weird soda taste, so that's, not too surprising to me. And then we're like, all right, you know what? We're here. Let's do that. We've already paid for our thing. Let's do the second half. And I'm like, all right, fine. And the second half, on our way up the stairs to the second half, which was in like a different wing of the castle, the woman that was there was like, hey, make sure that you see the thing that's in the very back corner of the last room. We're like, okay. And we go upstairs, and there's a quick thing on like loom weaving, which was kind of neat. There was one about loom art, like literally stitched through loom art, like almost like you're sewing pictures onto a canvas. That was also very neat. And then there was one more room, and there were so many more rooms going on in the first half, and there were like 3 rooms in the second half. The third room was entirely dedicated to a Scottish band that was based off, I think the Isle of Skye, called Runrig, a band that none of us had ever heard of before. And the thing that was in the back, and there were like records lining the walls, and there were video things going and all this, and like clearly they were very proud of Runrig, which is great and awesome. And in the back corner there's a dedication, and we're like, huh? And all of a sudden we're reading, and there's stuff going on talking about the Challenger explosion, and we're like, what? And it mentioned that one of the members of the crew of the Challenger was really into Runrig, and so she brought Runrig like music to have them listen to during like training and stuff, and actually brought a cassette tape onto the actual space shuttle. It was I forget if it was a cassette tape or a vinyl. It must have been a cassette tape. And like it was on the Challenger when it exploded, and it survived. The actual the actual cassette or whatever it was survived, and we're all just standing there, jaws on the floor, reading this thing like, what is happening right now? Fascinating stuff to learn about. Kind of a swerve after all this is the Highlands, the spirit of the Highlands, and all of that. That pixie thing came back in later rooms too. It was so strange. No shade on the people working there, but it was just like, what the hell? On the way out, we bought a puzzle of the Rose Window. We just finished it like last week. And now I'm back to my lenticular puzzle that I'm kind of working on there. Weird stuff. Weird stuff. Oh my god. Yeah. Nothing to do with the Highlands, but okay. So yeah, like it was so strange. Very, very strange. It was a good time. We bought some knickknacks and stuff. It's kind of under some stuff right now, so I can't grab it. But actually, no, let me grab this thing. So I mean, I've done theater and stuff. It was part of the reason that I was, kind of very interested in Inverness Castle in the first place. So I bought this really nice copy of Macbeth that they were selling at. They actually weren't selling it in at the castle there, but they were selling it. We went to a mall in Edinburgh. I forget the name of the mall, but the mall was attached to a boat, the name of which I forget, but it was apparently Queen Elizabeth II's. No, not the second. Yeah, the second. Queen Elizabeth II's private yacht, essentially, which was an interesting thing to go and see. But in the gift shop, they had these nice copies of Macbeth. We also bought some Christmas ornaments because Sarah likes to grab Christmas ornaments whenever we do trips and things. So we have a plush ornament of Nessie and a plush ornament of a Highland cow. Those are those big, super hairy, fluffy ones. I also golfed in Scotland while we were there. I've never golfed a full 18 before. But Beeble wanted to golf in Edinburgh, so I joined him for that, and my wrist is almost better. That trip was a month ago. I sure went high above the lands. I mean, that's true. That's true. The boat thing was interesting. It was neat to see below deck. I think the most. The topmost decks and the bottommost decks were actually kind of interesting because you got to learn a lot about the engineering. You got to learn a lot about the actual staff of the ship and all of that. The middle decks were like, and here, let us tell you about all the social engagements that the Queen involved herself with. And it was like, I don't care. So many esteemed guests like Bill Clinton. And I'm like, what was the full... it was like... Oh, yeah. The esteemed guests included Bill Clinton, Ronald Reagan, Margaret Thatcher, and we're like, please stop naming people. You're not winning me over. Please don't name any more people. At least Vacation was not like a restored house we had around here from the Revolution. Great for theater plays, but also to plaque about how racist and pro-slavery the owner was. Whoops. Oof. Yeah. That's eek. Petition to have it removed. The whole house. Oh man, it's tricky because you definitely don't want a plaque that's gonna sit there and celebrate the person if they're an awful person. I could see an argument for a plaque that acknowledges it to then try to not put a positive spin, obviously, but efforts from this have been used to efforts and funds since have been thanks to the estate of blah or the new ownership have gone towards any sort of civil rights type causes or what have you, but probably better to just bury the person altogether and be like, yeah, who gives a shit who owned this house before? They're a piece of trash. Let's not think about it. Oh boy. Let's see. We're currently sitting at just over 323 hours to go in total, rather. 100% stated how great the man was for aiding the cause. Uh-oh. The cause can mean quite a lot there too, but whoops, yeah, oops, Jesus Christ, yeah, that's not great. It's always such a short fucking discussion too when it's like, oh, it was for states' rights. And it's like, yeah, states' rights to do what? Honestly, nowadays too, it's so easy. Anytime someone's like, oh, they didn't really, that wasn't really the thing for it. And it's like, there's documented proof of the written reason that several of the people at the top of the totem pole in the South went to war specifically for slavery. It's like, it's such a silly fucking thing that anybody tries to pretend it was anything else. Not to say there was nothing else, but that was obviously like a part, if not the chief component of it. Like, fucking ridiculous. Brings my blood to a fucking boil. I am greatly looking forward to the 2030s at this point. I'm done with this decade. I'm very over it. And I'm hoping we can reverse any amount of the fucking damage that's been done over this past 10 years. It's so goddamn miserable right now. And honestly, I hope that, folks on the left play as dirty as the folks on the right have. I'm so sick to death of decorum. I could give a shit about decorum and optics at this point. I would like to actually, put out the burning building standing before us, Want to find a rage room so we can go. I'd be down for that. I've always been curious about a rage room, honestly. I've never gone to one. I know we have them. I think I've literally gone past one in Boston before. Yeah, absolutely. I would gladly go with you for that. 100%. It's I feel very, very lucky and very, very fortunate to have... I've lived my entire life in Massachusetts. I was born here and raised here, and I don't see myself ever leaving Massachusetts, at least in terms of, living. Because... And to be clear, Massachusetts has its problems, too. Southie has a pretty strong reputation of being... pretty much on par with some of the more racist areas of this country. South Boston is not a place that you want to really be, generally. It's also just kind of a shit place in the first place, but Massachusetts fortunately stays pretty ahead of the curve on as much as it can. It has its failings here and there, but it's usually pretty above board. Eating breakfast in the old racist house, shaking my head every 4 minutes so people know. I'm lucky enough that cooking works as my anger therapy because I'm deeply curious about rage rooms. Yeah. But I'm deeply curious. Yeah. There's a part of me that's like, it's such an alien thought in a sense, in the way that there's never been a time in my life where I've been like, oh, fuck yeah, let's just break this shit. It's always like, oh, I'm going to swing, but I'm going to stop before mess something up or whatever. And it's a rare thing to be able to just go fucking hog wild and just break shit and not have to worry about it. The number one concern for me is just getting over the impulse to oh, I shouldn't break this, which I think you get that first couple breaks in and you're like, okay, I get it now, and then you're good. The other one being, I would want to be over the paranoia that oh no, if I throw this the wrong way, will a shard of glass come back and hit me and blah de blah blah bloop bloop? You're going to be wearing stuff pretty much head to toe. You're going to be wearing eye protection, the most important part of being in a rage room. You're pretty goddamn well protected, so it's just fucking go for it. It's tough. It's basically some parts of Long Island and upstate New York as well. Yeah. Does Buffalo have a bad situation with that? I'm not as familiar with how the political demographics of New York wind up working. I guess I'd imagine upstate New York is probably pretty similar to New Hampshire and I guess Maine, somewhere floating in that territory, because I know New York City itself is what pulls the state as hard to the left as it is. Oh, the joys of throwing your old stuff into the dump as hard as you can to break into as many pieces as possible, you know. Usually in the middle of nowhere towns. That's fair, yeah. Even in Massachusetts, the town that I live in is technically a red town in Massachusetts. It's one of the few, unfortunately. It's like right on the line. It's more of a purple town, I would say, than anything. But like in the last, not this most recent, in the last elections from 2024, I forget if we voted in 2025 in like city level stuff, just because we're still kind of getting acclimated out here. We don't really know a lot of the stuff that's out here, but in 2024 there were like 5 questions on the ballot, and there were ones that were like there was stuff about charter schools. There was one that was about, it was using something in the budget in order to make, it was it more sustainable energy? There was something about the parks, and it got voted in a way that is definitely like, oh, that's the red vote for this town. Oof. It didn't fail by very much, which sucks. It was so close to getting passed. One of my ex-classmates injured himself in a rage room because he threw an object so hard he dislocated his elbow. That is a thing that I don't even know that I would consider when going in there. Though granted, I've played enough sports in my life that I think I would manage to avoid that, generally speaking. I've done baseball, I've done football, I've wrestled, played soccer, and I did martial arts, though that's kind of not really in the same ballpark, haha. But yeah, I don't even know if that would cross my mind as a thing to be careful about. Classmate knew the cow can. Oh man. One of these days I need to actually watch Dragon Ball properly one of these days. I've never actually, somehow it just barely passed me by growing up. I'm sure I knew that I watched little bits and pieces before school sometimes, but I just never got into it. I don't know why. I'll have to give Dragon Ball a shot sometime. There's so many shows from the 90s, or shows that took off in the 90s, I guess, that I really realized that I didn't watch that much of. Adventures of Sonic the Hedgehog, I used to watch a lot of, but when John and I started watching it for the channel forever ago, I realized that I remembered borderline nothing. And I had never watched... I basically did not watch Saturday Morning Sonic. I never watched... I was about to call it Sonic Boom. I mean, I haven't watched Sonic Boom either, but Sonic Underground or Sonic X. I stopped watching Power Rangers after like the 2nd or 3rd season. Sonic Underground is the worst. Uh-oh. I sure hope so. That'll make it much more entertaining to watch for sure. And kind of dig into. Or tear into. They did make a vow, yeah. Power Rangers I only watched up till about season 3. Pokemon, I don't remember watching. I remember the resolution of the GS ball. In that, I think Ash hands it to somebody. It might even be Professor Oak, and he goes, "Okay, thank you very much for bringing this to me. This will be really important." And that's the last we ever hear about any of it. And then, what was the other show that I was just thinking of? Obviously, the Dragon Ball that I was just talking about. There was one other. I mean, there's Digimon, which we're actively in the process of watching right now. In fact, in 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to be finishing Adventure 02, and at that point, it is fully the frontier for me. It is a completely new territory. I've never watched anything beyond Digimon Adventure 02 before. Started collecting the manga about 15 years ago. Oh god, it's been 15 years. It's up to volume 110 for One Piece. Oh man, It was Kurt, the Pokeball maker in Azalea Town. Oh, okay. Gotcha. Mr. Apricorn Man. The JS Ball was supposed to be part of a Celebi thing like it was in Japanese Crystal with the fucking cell phone adapter. Oh, Icy Hedgie. Hello. Howdy, howdy, howdy. Dude, where's Makar? Oh, I love that. That's fantastic. Oh my god. Are you doing like a Wind Waker randomizer or what are you up to? How's it going? How you been? Haven't seen you in a few. Is the one hilarious GIF? Uh-oh, I don't even know if I don't think I've seen any Sonic Underground specific GIFs. I don't know that I have anyway. Maybe I have and I just don't remember. But yeah, welcome to I was gonna say Prometheus's Hill. That's super wrong. Oh my god, I've met this character in Hades and I'm forgetting his name. Who pushes the boulder up the hill? In Greek mythology. Wind Waker, Vanilla Blind. Okay. Oh, Sisyphus. Yes, thank you. Oh my god. One Piece. The only thing I know about Underground. Wind Waker, Vanilla. Also doing okay. How are ya? Oh, if you're refusing backseating, that is an innocent problem to have. Oh, for Makar? Yeah. I know where Makar is. That one's bullshit. That one is actually kind of a bullshit. You're almost more likely to find him / that spot by accident than you are by intent. That one's such bullshit. I don't know that the game ever actually gives you a real indication of that either, which sucks. With 100% of me to help guide him when he gets confuzzled. All right, sweet. Good on you for giving the gentle nudges as need be. Wind Waker generally is pretty good about giving you a clear indication of what you need to be up to. But yeah, late game Makar is like, come on, game. A little bit, but give me a little more than that. I guess they do give you the tiniest of hints, but you have to be really paying attention to notice it. But I'll my lips are sealed. I don't want to give stuff away. But it's great. How you been enjoying it? You said it's been okay so far? It bums me out looking back on like the early 2000s where people were so fucking cruel to that game. All because it had the gall to not be in the proto gritty era of games, because it wasn't what Twilight Princess ultimately looked like. It bums me out. That Link is the most expressive he ever is in the whole franchise, and it's awesome. And it gives that game so much character. And it's honestly one of the more devastating plot lines. Oh, 3 battles. One of the most devastating plot lines in terms of what they do with like the characters and stuff. There's a lot of darkness in there. I think that's one of the most beautiful things they do with that game, is that the bright and cheery and beautiful, vivid like atmosphere of the Great Sea really does hide, in more ways than one, it really does hide some dark secrets. The game was so underrated at the time, but it's been given so much more love now, and I love that. Yeah, it has been. It's been great to see it coming back around for people. I'm hoping that if we do get Wind Waker HD finally ported to the Switch, Switch 2 now, I hope that it does regain some semblance of the Tingle Tuner in one way or another. I don't even know how they would do it, but like it was a thing that was like missing for a while now. It'd be nice to bring that back. It's kind of crazy too. The Wind Waker HD wasn't even brand new when we played it on the channel, but we played it on the channel in 2014. We played that on this channel 12 years ago. it's kind of crazy to think about. It's one of the stranger things about, wow, I really shouldn't use that phrase ever, but it is one of the stranger things about doing the Grand Champion tournament for all of our stuff. So for anybody who's not familiar, the D-pad's been around since 2011, mostly on YouTube, on Twitch for about half that time, and we recently, as in like right around the end of last year, start of this year, we crossed 1,024 games that we covered over those 15 years, and we are having a tournament now among all of those games, pitting them all against each other to see which ones we've made the best content from over the years. And it's been so strange of a nostalgia trip going back in time with all this stuff. And just looking at like, oh, here's a game we did in 2012. Here's a game that we did, as a random bonus when we were playing, The Adventure of Link that one time. It's just like, it's so interesting looking back that far. I don't know. It's a little alienating in its own way. It's like uncanny to a certain extent. Tingle Bottle would go hard in Big 2027. Yeah. Oh man. Shaboing. All right. I also need to. Sarah messaged me and I need to respond back. Oops. It's my own fault. There we go. Okay. Alrighty. Yeah, I don't quite think we're going to get to like 80,000 tonight. 80,000 experience. We'll be close though. What did we start with? I guess we probably started a little under 70,000. So we're getting about 10,000 on some of these. All right. And this is going to be a little bit of a shortish stream tonight. Not like super short. It's still going to be over, over 3 hours, but I started very late, which has been my curse forever, but it's tickling something in my probably very ADHD riddled brain with all the little stat things on the corner there. It's essentially giving me something to fight against during all of this. I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. 298 hours in 1 minute. We'll bring that under 298 hours. Yeah, we can do that. I still want to see if we can do this whole thing in less than 300 hours. I think it's possible. I'm still expecting it to be more like 305, 310, but it's not impossible we could get under 300. Because right now we're under 323, so, and hell, we started the night in like 324.5 or something like that. So we're doing pretty good. Doing pretty good. Ain't bad. In the span of like 2 hours and change, we've brought the estimated time left down by like 3 or 4 hours. So like that's the big key there, But also, the estimated time left is going to slow down both in terms of how much it goes up by on its own and how much we bring it down by through individual battles. So some of this stuff's going to change. We're also not going to get to under 40k fights left. We already kind of knew that. Definitely have to watch the series once I get through the game. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh, the old Wind Waker one. Yeah, that's actually the series where we gained Ben for the first time. He joined like halfway through that. the way he was described to me, because John was like, hey, would it be cool if a friend of Meg's joined us on the show? And I'm like, sure. It's an odd way to introduce someone, but yeah, I guess that's fine. Yeah, I mean, are they cool? And he's like, yeah, they're cool. I'm like, all right. And yeah, I would say so. I think that worked out pretty damn well. I feel bad. There's a friend of Jeff's that we were gonna have on the show at some point, like a year or two ago, just because like schedules just lined up in a certain way where that was the thing that was gonna happen, and it didn't wind up happening. I mean, I told him that like, yeah, if you wanted to bring him over, then we can have that go down, and it just didn't wind up lining up for that one. But we'll see if he might have been in a few Jeff streams at this point. He has not been on like couch recorded Let's Play type material though. Wow. I'm trying to keep myself like practical and aware of the thing that's going to happen. Oh, 10 more for silver. All right. All right, we got 10 more for silver. What was I going to say? I am trying to temper my expectations with this series because it's hard to see level 42 and not think, oh, we're already like, 40% of the way there. It's like, no. Oh, we got 10 more. 10 more for Crystal. The battle of the rings continues. The swerve will just be if I'm like, oh, if it ties, it's like that Mario Party game. Whichever one didn't tie wins. That's not how this is going to work, to be clear. Oh, man. I'm excited to get into the Generational Trauma series, too. It's going to take a long time to get through, but I am excited to try that format, Yeah, gold, someone's going to jump in and drop like 1,000 on it. It's like, whoa, okay. Now, if I was a smart man, I would have made bits the way that people vote. But alas, I made the goofy decision to go, everybody's got D points and we got nothing to spend them on. And they don't mean anything, so let's make them mean something for a year. Keep voting, but I'm bringing up votes for future polls. That's the trick, right? Is like making it, making it count where you want it to. We got to think up some more questions for later on down the thing too. Oh, we'll get 1 for gold. Doop. Gold gets 1. There it is. Gold isn't left out of the vote. Alrighty. Blah, 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 blah. Still wondering if we're ever going to get above 23 experience per fight on average. It feels like it's become a bit of a lost cause. Like, it feels like it's not going to move much anymore. Had around 100K when you started the polls. Oh, yeah. We got so many more to go. That's the real thing, is like holding on to them for the questions that you care the most about. And I have a list kicking around to detail the ones that we've already done so far, the ones that have already been determined. Which generation have we not done anything for yet? We haven't done anything for Gen 5 or Gen 8. And for Gen 5, we have questions for both the first and second game in that, because we're doing Black or White, and we're doing Black 2 or White 2. 422.9. Holy shit. 422.9K. Good God. Yeah, there's going to be... I'm curious which of these polls are going to be, like, show-stoppingly massive points dropped on things. Which are the ones that people are going to get really particular about. But yeah, we have not done any questions for Black and White, or Black and White 2, or Sword and Shield. And also, every other generation, every gen that we have done so far, we've only done one question. This is our 8th stream, and we've done 8 different generations for our polls. Which does mean, at most, we can do 3 more questions, because Gen 5 we have split in half. At most, we can do 3 more questions without getting an overlap yet. But sometime within the next 4 streams, we will have to have a repeat. Maybe I'll add my special questions to their own category on the first wheel. Or something. All right. It's the best distribution, really. Oh, man. Hokidoki. So it was just 2 questions per game set, starter game. So the questions that we have are, for every gen, it's which version. There's also which starter. There's also choosing of nicknames. So the nickname theme for that particular set. And in cases where the game has fossils, we will also decide on the fossil for that gen. So we have around 35... we have around... I guess, 38-ish questions that we can ask before we've expired our set there, our initial set. Whichever Unova Game Starter poll goes first, whoever wins won't be on the poll for the other. Correct, probably. Also, you really should play the same version of Black and White versus Black and White 2. You think so? I'm trying to remember what the differences are for Black 2 and White 2. Because in Black and White 1, other than like available Pokemon, I know that the differences include who the final gym leader is. And there's also Black and White, like Black City and White Town, which, because I'm not going to be connecting to online for any of that stuff, is just going to be a really, really basic town with nothing much going on. 100 more for Silva. Taking the lead again. In Black, you get the opposite legendary. In Black 2, you get the matching legendary, so I guess it falls naturally that way. I suppose that's fair. Got a work meeting, probably not back by the time it's done. Later, later, C-Dude. Have a good one. Later. The State of the 2 cover legendaries in Black 2 White 2 is a direct follow-up to their status in the same color original. Gotcha. I mean, we'll see. We'll kind of see how that goes. And maybe that, and like, granted, that's also something that people can kind of have an effect on with the vote too. Like, when we get to that point, you know, that'll be a thing that can be easily mentioned as like, hey, so we already voted on the Gen 2 version, or the number 2 version being White 2. So now when it comes time to decide Black and White, I don't know. Yeah. But I don't know. Maybe we do just vote on both versions at once. I don't know. Bam. At the very least, we're going to get ourselves to level 43. We're going to be so close to 80,000 experience that maybe we do just do that. We're still not going to quite be good for 40,000 fights left, though. I think we're still going to have the better part of 100 more after we hit 80,000 experience. So that I think we're going to leave on the floor. Is there no turning off move animations in red, blue, yellow? I believe there is. I just kind of figured because we had had I don't think it came up for the first couple streams. And I was kind of like, maybe we just keep them on for the sake of it, just because I think you can. I think you can turn animations off. But I don't know. I feel like another 100 for Crystal. I feel like it takes a little bit of the soul out of the game for skipping it. Oh, another 100 for Crystal. All right. There we go. Also, at this point, there's a part of it's like, if we were going to do that, I do kind of wish we did it from the beginning, but there's no 200 votes option. That's true. That's true. I went by orders of 10 because I figured that would be the easiest for folks to sort of, visualize. Maybe I can put some intermediate ones in there. The only reason I want to vote against Crystal is because Oisine is a huge bitch that can end runs. Ooh. Interesting. Interesting. I may put it to I'm trying to decide whether I'm going to put it to a vote or not, but I think we're going to stick the default, if we don't, is we're going to stick to our traditional D-pad Nuzlocke rules of a whiteout does not end your run. It just means that all 6 of those Pokemon are now dead and you put together a new team. Just because rather than the possibility of just hitting a speed trap somewhere and just getting annihilated after, 400 hours of Nuzlocke streaming, But we'll see. This does mean, regrettably, that I am going to have to fight both Whitney and Cynthia again, which I'm not looking forward to. Cynthia, I'm ready to play dirty. Oh, also, happy 25 hours. I'm very prepared to fight dirty with Cynthia. And unfortunately, X items are not as good in original Gen 4 as they are in the remakes. I believe in Gen 4, the X items are still 1 stage, not 2. So I don't even have that option of just steamrolling her. At least not as easily. If I can set up a thing that leaves her Pokemon doing very little to me while I set up, then it's less of a big deal. But the buff starting in Sun Moon, yeah, I was like, I could swear that was in the 3DS era. Lisa's not the most recent competitive Cynthia. Yeah. Yep. And like, not even so the base game Cynthia in Brilliant Diamond Shining Pearl is still pretty reasonable. It was still a rough time, but I got through it. The post-game ones, though, are, like, insane. That shit was crazy. Do you know that the X-item buffing also worked for Jeff in his Platinum stream? Okay, fair enough. It's a little time-consuming. Oh, yeah, it would have to be. Yeah. Honestly, I'm keeping that in the back of my head as, like, the go-to strategy, to be dead honest. Because I feel like there's a chance that it might be the way to go. But we'll see. And I think the ruling on the field will most likely be that Pokemon that enter the Hall of Fame will be retired and not able to be used again. I guess there's not a huge difference between these, but Pokemon that die during the Elite Four and Champion fights will not be considered in the all-time Hall of Fame for the series, but they'll be dead, so I can't use them either. There's also a Technician Scissor, so that helped too. Yeah, Technician Scissor is fucking incredible. classic cheese setup on that one. Because it's that plus was it Bullet Seed? No. Bullet Punch? I'm trying to remember what the hell there's a bug move that's like perfect for Technician Scissor. Caesar. It is Bullet Punch. Okay, yeah. Because it's just under the line, and it does everything it needs to do, and it's stab, and it's beautiful. Oh, Steel, that's right. Yeah, Steel, not Bug. Something just buzzed loudly in the room. It's becoming wasp season. So I'm whoops. So I'm a little bit jumpier about suddenly hearing that sound. I heard it again. I can hear it, but I can't see it, and it's like behind a light. Could be a mud dauber, which would be okay. Well, I don't like that. Meanwhile, in my other recent run of Lazarus, I went for Cleaver, and one pleasant surprise about Cleaver is that it's not slow despite being a rock monster. Slower than Scyther, but not that bad for in-game. Nice. Suddenly Mega Beedrill mods love into the game. Oh god, yeah. Ugh. I just don't like hearing the buzzing sound. It just gets under my skin. Don't like that. Don't like that. Ugh. Cleaver is one of the fairly few rock types that runs as kind of a glass cannon, which is what rock is actually good at. Yeah. Talking really softly and right into the mic. Well, yeah, you don't want to scare the thing. Rock is such an interesting type to me because it's one of the few that seems like it's got like built-in disadvantages for stuff. It drives me crazy that for a very long time, and I'd say even still now, the bulk of rock moves are all low accuracy moves, which is fucking so annoying. Starting three gym equipment, they use legendaries out of nowhere. Oh, great. That's not an obnoxious pain in the ass at all. Oh, God. That didn't really happen in Lazarus until the Evil Team Climax, where they reverted the legendary beasts in their paradox forms. Oh. Interesting. So, like, you're talking, like, Iron whatever and like, past beast versions of stuff? Oh, wait, the paradox forms that are actually in Scarlet and Violet. Whose names I have completely forgotten. Cleaver is still slower than Scyther, but faster than Sizz. Also, sharpness is insane. You know. Gouging fire. Yeah. Yep. All right. They did do all three of them ultimately, right? I like the story of the gameplay is testing my patience. Yeah, Sharpness, same boost as Technician, but applies to your cool signature move too. Ah. Alright. It is funny to me that for gold and silver, the box legendaries are Ho-Oh and Lugia, and then for crystal, they're like, "Oops, we need another one." Sure, Suicune, why not? It's got a crystal type appearance and everything, so that was good. Oh, man. Yeehaw. Moves, it's 100. Also, the moves it's 150%ing are the power of are generally BP 60-70 rather than 40-60 and not working above 60. Okay. Ugh. Alrighty. I don't think rock being somewhat inaccurate projectiles is weird. Projectiles, like, that is generally fine. I do wish there were some more reliable low power options just to kind of even it out a little bit. Beyond that, though, I would say... Or, like, it does feel like even, like, melee-type options they have are... How good are you at throwing rocks? I played baseball, so I'm, like, okay at it. Like... Smackdown doesn't miss, but 50 BP is a little meh. All right, it's fair. Rock Tomb is like 95. It's less a matter of them being very inaccurate and more the fact that there's nearly no 100% rock type moves. The rock type moves accuracy are almost universally not 100%. Walking Wake, Suicune, and Iron Leaves Virizion were event exclusives in Scarlet Violet, which annoys me to no end. Yeah, I'm kind of over the limited time event type shit in Pokemon games. I don't know. I get why it exists, but it's so fucking annoying to be like, we're gonna make people play more because they can only get this thing for a little while, and it's like, ugh, man. Or you do what I do and just go, I don't care. I'll just not have that then. That's fine. I love rolling nat ones. Well, the other thing too, when it comes to, I guess nowadays, it's funny because like, there's a bunch of Pokemon. Hell, I think by the time we're done with Heart Gold and Soul Silver, we may encounter at least one Pokemon that we can't transfer out of that game. And like Pokemon Home, nowadays everything is like really... wired in so that it's able to work with that, but that only works for as long as this like wave of games continues that. In like 10 years, there's entirely the possibility that they come up with a whole new system and a whole nother bunch of Pokemon will become unavailable to move forward because of XYZ or whatever. It is silly as shit to me that basically anything from the moment Pokemon Bank opened forward is not transferable into Pokemon Bank or Pokemon Home. I think it's fucking insane that they had that exist and they went, yeah, but not everything can come. It's like, why not? Why can my costume Pikachu not come forward? That's fucking ridiculous. And it annoys me because I actually really like... That was such a cool change to how you could use Pikachu. A Pokemon who is generally kind of boring bullshit. I don't need more Pikachu, I'm fine. I would just like Pikachu to be useful. The alternative is Partner Pikachu, which I don't even think you... Can you even transfer that to Pokemon Home? Can Partner Eevee and Partner Pikachu actually get transferred? Or does the game go, no, you're not allowed? Okay. So there we go. Another pair where it's like, sorry. It's like, why? I don't know. Because they don't want to have to program even more mons into every new game. Yeah, but like, that feels like such a cop-out. Because the other option that they've been using since the era of like XY and the early Switch games is they just don't. They just go, we'll put this in when we decide we want to allow people to use it again. At least let me put it into Home. You don't even have to let me put it anywhere else. Just let me put it somewhere where I can hang on to it. Ugh. Also, the Bikemon in Scarlet Violet. Oh, yeah. Miraidon and Koraidon. The rideable version. The catchable versions you can use, but the rideable versions, no. Game wouldn't be able to handle if they weren't in the game. They're crucial to literally everything. Yes, the partner ones and the ride Pokemon in Scarlet Violet. Absolutely. Which, like, it'd be nice if there was some way to, I don't know, cheekily have a way to have them exist in home with the understanding that in the base game they're still there too. Like, your Eevee is vacationing in Pokemon or whatever. Like, I don't know. People would ultra bitch if they included cosplay Pikachu and had anything other than perfectly rigged clothes and it didn't have custom anime. People will bitch about that shit anyway. And, like, granted, I'm someone who bitches about it sometimes. Less about, like, I don't really care about that level of specifics. I care when they look like they're made of wood, but not the clothes, the Pokemon. But, like, I don't know. It feels silly. It's a continuation of my criticism of them for the last 10 years of, like, why, for a series that's so hell-bent on you catching stuff and bonding with it, is there anything that you cannot transfer out? Is spiky-eared Pichu even different? I don't think it is. I was reading up on it a little bit the other day, actually. I'm trying to remember. It has weird... If I recall correctly, either it or the other Pichu that you can find as a result of the spiky-eared Pichu can't evolve. Yeah, I think it was the... Oh, that's right. Spiky-eared Pichu can't evolve, but having one in your team in a certain area gives you a guaranteed shiny Pichu. The Pikachu-colored Pichu, which is just a shiny Pichu, which can evolve. But yeah, spiky-eared Pichu can't transfer out. Why not? We have forms. We've had forms for so long. We've had forms since the DS era. Black and White had forms with Deerling and Sawsbuck. And that's even ignoring the Unknown having forms since fucking 1999 or whatever. I don't know. It feels silly to me. It feels silly that there's any limitations like that. And, like, I get it's like, but, you know, then what if they can't use them in Pokemon Winds? And it's like, okay, that's fine. But, like, just at least let me put it in Pokemon Home. Yeah, the new Unknown at some point. I wonder if they'll do numbers. I wonder if they'll do, like, an asterisk. Or even just a period. They don't even have a period. Just have it be the eye floating by itself. Yeah, the period would just be the eye. Exactly. After that, because also wasn't there also mention at one point that Unknown in other regions look like other languages too? So there's definitely the argument for there being like an Enya Unknown and a Cisadilla Unknown. Oh, a hashtag Unknown. Oh God, you're right. That would probably just be the I and then the four like crosshatch lines, right? Accented Unknown, yep, with diacritical marks. An A Unknown accent grave. Oh man. Get an Essa in there. Get all of these different things. Diacritical marks are actually Unknown's new baby form. Oh, that would actually be pretty cute. You have a bunch that you can do for that too. Accent aigu, accent grave, circonflexe. Get your umlaut. I don't actually know what the tilde-like symbol that makes an N into an Enya is called, but one of those. The overline. Are there even any others? Have I kind of named all the big ones? What would quotation mark Unknown even look like? I think for that you would have to like Magnemite it a little bit. It would be like two of them with like a little tail on them. You could do a comma / apostrophe one though. Then you can evolve them. Yeah, yep. Into Legion. Wait, there, he already used that up for Basculegion. Yeah. Basculegion, and also to a certain extent, Wishy-Washy kind of does that as well. Thinking about what an ampersand unknown would look like, I think the top would make the most sense for the eye there. Oh, I love Wishy-Washy. What a neat idea. I think it's very cute. It definitely is kind of hilarious that it falls into the ballpark of one of the rare Pokemon that gets worse the more it gets hurt. What's the other one? There's another one that... Because Wishy-Washy, I think it's what? Above level 20, if it's below half health, it goes back to its like normal form instead of its school form. There's another Pokemon... I was looking this up at one point because there's an ability that, like, it's an explicitly negative ability that makes a Pokemon worse as it gets hurt, and it's a different one. Yes, Arcan's Defeatist. Yes, I was like, why would I have even been looking this up? And it's like, right, because I have an Arcan in Pokemon Insurgence. And I was trying to figure... Because I like Arcan a lot. I think Arcan's an awesome design. Archeops is fine. Arcan is great. And I was like, oh, maybe I can use this guy. And it's like, oh, what's this? His ability just makes him suck shit? Uh-oh. So that's not great. I don't think Arcan's going to be on my G team. I think he's going to be on my H team. And at that point, it's basically... Can I advance anywhere into this game before finally losing the Nuzlocke once and for all? Because I believe I have 10 Pokemon left. I need to do a little digging to see where I haven't picked up eggs yet either. If it doesn't have slacking type stats to make up for it, they're yeah, exactly. Imagining an unknown having a second fake eye and a semicolon be the same. Yep. Honestly, for the semicolon one, all you would need is just that and then like a Magatama type thing underneath it. That could be actually a pretty neat evolved form even. Ah, man. Didn't hear a buzz again, but I was just looking. More thought into this game. Yeah. There's a lot of Pokemon that feel like they've been kind of left behind a little bit. Silly as it is, Dunsparce getting an evolution that is literally just more Dunsparce was honestly kind of a fun... It's the most fun I feel like they've had with an otherwise forgotten Pokemon in a long time. I also love the idea of Mega Evolutions generally including design aesthetics of the basic form. I think that's a fun way to kind of bring everything full circle. I think that's a cute thing to do. I'm in favor. I am pro cute ideas. Ooh, winning a battle only brings the estimated time down by about 4 minutes now. Yeah, the last evolution was an X and Y, right? I showed off in the Discord my idea for a build for a ghost type Eevee. Needs a little work still. It'd be hard to it's hard to distinguish it well from like an Umbreon, but it's doable. Which Mega Evolution do you want to see? Ooh, that's tough. Well, I will tell you one thing. I find it very interesting that the game that introduced Mega Evolutions, if I recall correctly, the starters for that game don't Mega Evolve. Correct? But the Kanto starters do? Feels like a missed opportunity there. I like to joke about Dragon-type Eevee just being Spyro. Oh, that'd be fun. Okay, nice. Yep. The only examples I can think of for the DLC, and I don't know how much you've had spoiled. I don't remember any of the stuff that's been announced in the DLC, and we haven't gotten a Mega Dimension yet. So, yeah, who would be? Alakazam's had one for a while. Who would be good for it? I would really have to sit down with like a big fucking list. I still think, and I hope they come to realize through Legends ZA that this is the case. I still think that Mega Evolution was the best gimmick that they've added from all of that. Scissor has a Mega. Why doesn't Cleaver? That's a good point. Scissors had a Mega for a while now. That was from the Gen 3 remakes, right? Mega is way too selective. Yeah, I think it's interesting. Mega Evolution at this point needs to either go all the way and make basically every evolutionary line have something, or they really should have scaled it back a little bit, because now there's so fucking many of them, and it makes the plot reasons for Mega Evolution working in the first place feel silly. Because it feels like, I don't know, whatever, a bunch of them can. Oh, what's this? There's 100 different magical marbles out there that help them Mega Evolve? That's fascinating. I want more parody like that too. Slowking should get one. Yes, Slowking should get one. And the Galarian forms should either also Mega Evolve into the same ones, the same way the Applin Evos do, or they should also, I think, have something. One for Electivire. Electivire and Magmar should both... I have no idea if Magmar has one in ZA, but I think those guys deserve one. There's also... I guess... So there is Mega Pinsir and Mega Heracross and Mega Scissor, so I guess all those guys have stuff. Someone is mad about Applin. What, the fact that its Mega Evolution is the same for both Evos? Number Megas is herringly high, and I didn't realize until they included their own decks for them. Yeah, it was already like decently chunky before ZA, but now it's just a shitload. Why introduce Flapple and Appleton, and then in the next generation introduce a clearly correct power creeped evolution in Hydrapple? Huh. Okay. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know on that one. It did feel strange to add a third evolution in the DLC of the game. That was a little bit odd. Yeah, Hisuian forms would be great to get alternate Megas for. Hydrapple's base stats are just better than the other two. Gotcha. But I like it, so it's a good design, and it's a good design, so I'm not mad. Yeah, the item you give it is just like the sticky apple or whatever, right? Or the sticky syrup or something. Personally, why make 3 branches if you're going to converge? Yep. I don't disagree. My biggest evolution-based argument, which I've made very clear in the past, is I think that the Hydrapple can't Gigantamax, though, until Legends Eternatus comes out in 2033. Yeah. Oh, God. My biggest gripe is very much still that, like, it feels silly that we have both regional variants and convergent evolution. We've talked about this many times. We don't have to get back into it again. But it just feels sort of... It feels like they just wanted to do more of it, but not call it the same thing. And I know that mechanically there's some differences too, where like the convergent evolutions almost all of the time, not 100% of the time as it turns out, but almost all of the time have the exact same stats. But it's just different types and abilities and moves. Sarah's just messaging me real quick. Alrighty. Do. Pad out the decks, it's fine. I mean, there's a part of me that would just like to see more regional variants pop up if we're gonna do padding. It makes the universe feel a little bit more lived in. For the fan game I've been like low key tooling on for years and years now, I keep coming back to the ideas of like, oh, what would be some good regional variants of stuff that like a version of would live in that area, but not necessarily the same version. Like, what would that mean, you know? Every Pokemon Mega Evolves now. Some of them may as well. There's no Mega Evolutions for non-fully evolved Pokemon, right? They're all fully evolved when they Mega Evolve. An Electric Rock-type Onix and a Steel Electric-type Steelix. Oh, that would be fun. That'd be actually very fun. Onix going a very similar route to the Alolan Geodude line. And then Steel Electric. Is that a type that's been done before? I don't even know if that one's been done yet. Oh, great. Okay. Oh, we'll definitely see on that front. Oh, jeez. They need to bring Crystal Onix into the games. Oh, yeah. Wasn't there... Crystal Onix was a thing from the anime, wasn't it? Wasn't that... Was that... That wasn't from the island with the giant Pokemon, was it? That was a different thing? Or was that... I could swear there was an episode where people could, like, wish for stuff. Orange Island's episode. Oh, God. Well, that would be why it's still familiar, because that was one of the last... I watched the Orange Islands / Orange Archipelago arc, and then fell off not long after that. A lot of ROM hacks will introduce Crystal Onix as a catchable because that's what the fans want. I haven't thought about it in years. I mean, let me be the first to say, as a fan of Pokemon, fans of Pokemon don't know what the fuck we're talking about. Like, there's a reason there are so many bad ROM hacks and mods out there of Pokemon, and that's because people don't have a sense of restraint on a lot of this stuff, and that's what gets you in trouble. Is you take the guardrails off and you say, I can do anything I want, so I'm going to do everything I want, and it fucks up all sense of flow and consistency in a project. And it just like, yeah, there's certain arrogance to it. Some of them certainly think like, I know what everybody wants, and it's like, eh. And the worst part is, in some cases, they may have something in their mind that the fandom does want, but either it's not executed properly, or it's something where, like, the idea, once it actually is executed, just isn't a good idea. Playing a game called Poké Clicker that adds in most of the anime Pokemon. Nice, that's fun. Crystal Onix is a rock ice type and evolves new Crystal Steelix with an ice stone. Oh, that's fun. That's cool. Time goes on, I'm like, Dexit was a really good idea. Games having curated decks of like 400-ish mons is like perfect. Yeah, I've come around on it for I wouldn't even say for the most part. I would say I've basically just come around on it by now. It was a difficult change to get accustomed to after what, 15 years, 20 years of every Pokemon being viable in every game. With the notable exception of Gen 5 until you beat the Elite Four. That doesn't line up with its attributes in the show. I don't even remember what it did in the show. Doesn't help that at the end of the day, Crystal is elementally still rock. It looks like ice, but it is functionally still rock. Which is why you still have stuff like Carbink and Diancie. Actually, is Diancie rock fairy or is it just fairy? But yeah, I have no idea how many Pokemon would wind up being in the fan game thing that I've been like slowly tooling away with. But yeah, it'd probably be several hundred, and that's just it. Lazarus also has a curated dex of 430 total, but has a good variety from all gens. Like most vanilla games, feels good. All right, nice. Think about a moment in the anime that really pissed me off is Ash just gave away his Primeape and never got it back. Oh yeah, wait a minute. Because his Primeape wanted to stay and train, right? At the dojo that was there, the gym, like the gymnasium or whatever, the boxing ring. I'm trying to remember. Forgot about that one, but yeah. A gym that held a tournament, yeah. Huh. Because yeah, they went through great pains during the final arc of the Pokemon. I think it's now Pokemon Journeys is now technically the retrofitted name. Or no, Pokemon Journeys is like the last season of the show, I think. Oh yeah, trade the Hitmonchan, yeah. But yeah, I want to say the last arc of the show where Ash was the protagonist, they went through great pains to have him reunite with a bunch of old Pokemon. Most notably, I think Charizard came back. I think his Tauros all came back too for a quick little thing. There was one other big one. Was it Butterfree? Oh, Pidgeot, nice. There was one other major one that came back that I recall, and it might have been Butterfree, it might have been Pidgeot. Personally, like the Golden Sudowoodo and Pokeclicker that's a steel type instead of rock, if only it wasn't a pain to get. I would be very interested in, I think something that would be kind of neat, like just conceptually, it's something that would have to be workshopped like crazy, but instead of, or in addition to, it doesn't really matter which. So right now it's like, oh, you've got your Pokemon, and sometimes, in very rare circumstances, you'll find a shiny Pokemon. And there are a lot of Pokemon that have multiple forms, and there's very few of them where the forms actually matter. Like Cast Form is one where its forms matter. I don't know if Sawsbuck forms matter at all. But what I would love to see is are Pokemon that have just rare forms that do stuff. So, for example, like the shadow makes it look like I'm missing a tooth. Like what would be a good one? Like a rare form of a Magnemite where its shell is copper instead of aluminum or whatever, and that does something to its typing. It's not steel type anymore or whatever. I don't know. It's a terrible example, but like, I don't know. I think there's room for like, so having, because Sudowoodo are based on petrified trees, and they have that rock type, but having a steel type for one that is either, gold or whatever, and it's just a rare form of it would be kind of neat, I think. I keep on wanting to catch up with the anime I was watching as it was new up until the end of Gen 6 when it switched from Cartoon Network to Disney XD. My cable sub at the time didn't have that channel, so I was shit out of luck. At this point, yeah, I would actually need to find where Pokemon even lives anymore. In fairness, if there's ever been if there had ever been anime that could actually use their own streaming service exclusively for their stuff, Pokemon and One Piece are certainly up there. I'm just glad Ash eventually got a Gengar and a Dragonite. That's pretty fun. I'd have to start from Sun and Moon, and that's growing far and more and more intimidating as time goes on. Not to mention, I think... I forget if it was for Black and White or if it was for Sun and Moon, or maybe it was both. They have a pretty huge art style shift for Sun and Moon. I don't know how to describe it. Everybody has kind of a rounded, more squat sort of appearance, it looks like. Another Raticate on the pile. Yep. We now have 24, I think, on the pile. Looking forward to the day that Rattata's at level 100. The adventure is going to be worth watching. I'm honestly kind of stoked for when we get around to that. It's still quite a ways out, but we will get there. Right now, it's on Netflix for Horizons. Yeah, I probably wouldn't mind it after like 10 years not seeing much of it. Not seeing much of Pokemon or One Piece? Or am I jumping tracks too many times here? You wouldn't mind the art style shift. Yeah, yes. Yeah, I feel like it's very jarring to look back at like Season 1 Pokemon and then see screen caps or clips of Sun and Moon era Pokemon anime where it's just like, whoa, okay, that's remarkably different of a look. Still thinking of that image where the seasons are split across 7 or so different services. Ugh. Yeah, that's not amazing. What I used to do for some shows was I would sail the 7 seas, so to speak, in search of everything I could find, and I would keep a hard drive with as many episodes as I could. So like Doctor Who, I had every episode through, I think, the entire 11th Doctor for a while. And that was originally just New Who, and then it became the entire show. And I don't even know if I still have that drive anymore, so... One Piece would be proud. Huh. At least Pokemon TV YouTube exists now, so that's nice. That's fair. So long as they're updating it, to a certain degree, then that's pretty good. Oh, man. Whoops. Yeah, that's just resetting some RNG, no big deal. Well, we're certainly going to cross 80,000 experience. Alright. I miss with it being a dedicated app, but whatever. YouTube has more now than the app had anyway. I mean, yeah, that's just kind of how that works over time, to be honest. It's funny. I debated when I forget if it was Battle Network or Star Force. They put an entire season up fairly recently online for Mega Man, and I debated ripping those episodes. And then I remembered that at least for Star Force, I forget where I found the episodes, but they were like 10-bit encoded copies of the videos. They're such good quality. There's not a chance in the world that what went up on YouTube was even that good. Excuse me. Not absolutely everything, right? But it's fine. Yeah. The app had Gen 1, Gen 3, and Gen 7 with a few of the movies showing up for special events. Okay, that's not bad. But yeah, I think I would go out of my way to start slowly collecting episodes and start pulling them together. I honestly might just start doing that on my own. Maybe once I've had a chance to get another hard drive, or maybe I can use one of my older ones. I'm in pretty bad need of hard drive space. Unfortunately, the prices of external hard drives have all jumped like crazy in the last couple months. Literally, like, all of the hard drives I usually buy are like 75% more expensive than they were at the start of this year. Really fucking annoying. The specific size that I want the most is like $500 right now, and I'm like, well, I guess I'm not getting that. I guess I'm just not getting that for now. deeply fucking upsetting. Bigger fan of getting DVDs at thrift stores and whatnot. I mean, those are fine too. I like physical media generally. For TV shows, especially if it's something that I may have a use for in like videos of my own, I prefer to have a digital copy of it just because it's easier to work with as data. But I also do have a DVD and Blu-ray ripper anyway. Like I've got a drive that can offload files from those, so that's not a huge deal. But yeah, the biggest problem when it comes to physical media for TV shows is consistency across the entire thing. So like one example, and it's slowly getting there, is going back to Doctor Who again. The classic show has been putting out a series called Doctor Who the Collection. And they have, I believe, 19 of the first 26 seasons that are on there now. They have season 2, they have seasons 7 through 10, they have seasons 12 through 15, and they have seasons 17 through 26. They're missing 1, 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, and 16. And they've been keeping them consistent, but they've also been releasing them in really wacky orders. Like, I think they just announced the season 21 collection, which is like going to be coming out this summer, I guess. I bought season 2 when that came out like a year or two ago because Sarah and I were watching through Classic Who, and just having a Blu-ray made it easier than signing up for BritBox. The big goal is having... I heard it again. A big goal is having any of the Kirby Right Back At You DVDs. Still a shame most of it never got released physically here. Yeah, that's a pretty huge shame too. I keep hearing it. I keep expecting to like see it or have it fucking dive bomb me. See, now I heard it and it didn't sound like it came from a very clear direction. It's freaking me out, man. I don't like it. I can hear the buzzing, but it doesn't sound like it's coming from any given direction, which is giving it a really spooky quality. This is fucking weird, man. Especially since the last minute or so of DD's Monster Piece has been lost media for decades. Oh no, that's a shame. It's also totally possible that there's like a wasp or mud dauber that is like caught in a spider web. We got a lot of spiders here. Hey, we got Boobs experience. Yay, Boobs experience. Everybody celebrate because it's about to go away. Goodbye, Boobs experience. All right, well, that's actually it forever for Pokemon Blue. That's all I wanted to get us to know. How fucking strange would that be if I was just actually like, yeah, I'm good, actually. That was the whole goal. And the series just ended right here. 26 hours in just for that. Oh my god. All right. I think we'll probably play out the rest of our moves here, and then that'll be when we call it. Be right around the 26-hour mark. Not bad. Not bad at all. Ooh, did we get under another hour mark? Or that we're about to if we get under 11 minutes 20 here. Yeah, there we go. So what is that? That's about 322. So we're under 322 hours for our estimate now. Not bad. I did the math and we got a quarter of the dub physically, another quarter on top of that on proprietary streaming on Wii and 3DS. Oh, God. Yeesh. We've also got the 3 episodes that are in Kirby's Dream Collection on the Wii. Unless that counts already. Dream Collection is included in the 1 quarter. Nice, okay. Because wasn't there like a Kirby channel or something on the 3DS? Am I crazy? That had like a handful of episodes that you could stream essentially. That's the Wii one, Kirby TV. Okay, gotcha. All right, PAL exclusive. Oh, I didn't know that. All right, different licensing, I guess. When time travel is invented, I wonder if someone's first priority will be just to find all the lost media. That wouldn't be bad. It would not be bad to be like, all right, time travel exists, and all the episodes of Doctor Who have been found. All the episodes of the Downer Channel exist again. That'd be great. It'd be a great time. We found this one reel in a tin that shows SpongeBob, but he's covered in blood for the whole episode for some reason. Don't know what that's all about. Blah, 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 blah. Woo. Whereas just find what happened to every Fabergé egg. Oh, God. Crusade for the Blade and Waddle While You Work were only re-released via Dream Collection. Those weren't on either streaming service. Interesting. All right. It's very interesting. All right. Can you tell I'm tired? Ooh, we're up over 135 fights per hour. I don't know if we've actually gotten to 135 before. Because I thought we were at 134 earlier in the night, but I could also be mistaken. Oh, we're at 3,500 fights also. Hell yeah. Sweet. I want to say Kirby TV had the first 52 episodes minus, I want to say 48, but including 55. Oh, that's interesting. Huh. Isn't that about half then? Because the show was 100 episodes on the dot, I think, right? Oh, but you're saying that, so a quarter of them were on physical media, and then another quarter that wasn't on physical media is also on Kirby TV, meaning that the first quarter is probably also on Kirby TV. Do 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 do. Estimated time left is just about to drop under 296. Kirby V, yeah. Come on. Yeah, 295.59 and change. There's also the Nintendo Anime Channel, the 3DS one, that did have the entire first half. Okay, all right. So it seems like the first half of the show, what probably happened is that the first half of the show, while it was still running, was easy to license out because it was a show that was actively airing. Or I guess by the time of the 3DS stuff, it wasn't. But they probably signed a lot of stuff for distribution of the first half of the show while it was airing, and a bunch of those were able to keep, being referred back to in later like distribution things. And then the second half, they just never bothered. Want to add in Kirby 3D for good measure, which is split into 2 for Nintendo Video, but I think you can get the full thing on the eShop after a time. Yeah, how did we get a hold of that? I think someone uploaded that online. Weird that it's split into 2 anywhere, though. Nintendo probably has enough media to make their own streaming channel at this point, all the movies and older shows, potentially newer shows too. Be cool to archive all that in that way. I agree. I think the biggest trouble that they would run into is licensing from the various animation studios and distribution contracts they've signed. So, like, the Super Mario Brothers show, I think, is done through Deke. There's also Captain N the Game Master. Super Mario Brothers, the Super Mario 3 and Mario World cartoons. Obviously, we've got the Super Mario Brothers movie and the Mario Galaxy movie that they have way more control over. Only 4 videos would be in the app at any one time. It would cycle every couple of weeks. Blech. Dinosaur Office. What is Dinosaur Office? There's the original Mario Brothers movie from the 90s. What else would be on there? Pokemon. Just all of Pokemon being on there. Former YouTube show. Oh, okay. Ooh, the time left went back above 296. How did that happen? Just noticing that. Huh. Nintendo Video Series just had, I think it was claymation of dinosaurs in Office Comedy. Oh, that actually sounds very familiar, come to think of it. Huh. Interesting. Roar and such, yeah. I'm reminded of that MS Paint Dinosaurs comic that ran forever and ever and ever. The one that was basically, it's basically like copy and pasted, like clip art, pixel art of dinosaurs doing stuff. I don't know. It might still be going. I remember it from a long time ago. Doesn't mean it's not still going. And for the fact that the English Kirby dub still exists in Nintendo's vault because they put the first episode on the Japanese Blu-ray set as a bonus. Ooh. Interesting. But yeah, Kirby Right Back At You would be great to have on there. They could ostensibly license stuff that is non-Nintendo onto there too. You could make an argument for various Mega Man and Sonic shows to appear on there. Castlevania, same thing with Konami. XKCD is still going, something that takes less effort to draw than even that, surely, yeah. It is kind of wild that XKCD still is kicking around. Because that's Randall Monroe, I think, right? Who's probably got to be like 50-ish by now. He actually does. Yeah, he does YouTube now too. I don't know when that happened, but he's been doing YouTube videos for a little bit now. It's very CGP gray in terms of like the like tone and angle and stuff. I think it was CGP gray. Excuse me. All right. Okay, there we go. I guess the estimated time left is going to rise and fall based on the experience points of the battles that I'm getting into. Because, like, if I have a couple in a row that are, like, 22, 21 experience, then, yeah, the estimated time may not go down by much and may, in some cases, actually even go up. But if I'm getting 23, 26, 28 experience points, then it should dive by, you know, more than is expected. We're going to be ending this pretty close to 26 hours on the dot. I figure it'll get us down to like 2 or 3 more attacks left. Okay. All right. Alrighty. Always kind of sad when we come down to the end of one of these. Didn't want to be alone with us. I'm sorry, man. Yeah, no, I'm glad that we could, you know, give you something to do to sort of, you know, distract you a bit, right? Get you, you know, on other stuff. It always sucks kind of dealing with that stuff. Or anything that's in that, 26 hours, anything that's in that kind of, you know, vicinity, right? Always happy to be a useful bit of entertainment, a little bit of escapism, all that jazz. Because I know I love me some too. I still occasionally check the internet archives and hope someone uploaded some home recordings. Okay. Oh, that's fun. I guess that's a fair point that, yeah, sometimes people just have stuff that they throw in there and you're like, whoa, hidden treasure. Yeah, I'm always a little bit sad when we come to the end of these because I know we have so much left to go, but also because, like, it's fascinating in that we're going to be doing this for 300 plus hours. So an individual stream is like a percent and a half of what we have to do, but, like, it does still feel like meaningful progress. And it's probably very telling that I'm using language like this and we're only 8 streams in to what is probably going to be like 80 streams in total, maybe even more. But I don't know. And also the progress for each stream is going to go down. Like this time we got through 2 and like a third levels in about 3.5 hours. Whoops. Oh, damn it. Well, I guess we're doing that again. We're going to reach a point where we're getting through like 1 level a stream or most of a level a stream. And then we're going to get through no levels. We're going to like not get through an entire level per stream. And I did say before that when we hit level 99, we're going to stop everything. And then the final level is going to be 1 big stream. So that's how we'll you know, rock that in the end. But yeah, so just over 26 hours. We got, let's see, 3,524 fights. We got over 135 fights per hour. A little under 52 experience points per minute. We got over 80. We got almost 81,000 experience points. Not bad, not bad. So we are approaching 1/12 of the way through this. When we hit 83,333, which is going to happen before level 44. I feel like my brain is breaking. 83,333 before level 44. Anyway, let's do our usual wrap up, you know, discussion here. So, other stuff that's going on. Tomorrow I will be jumping in with Shad to do more of our Link to the Past Super Metroid combo randomizer, combo multi-world randomizer. I don't know which one goes first for that. Wednesday, I should be wrapping up Metroid Prime 3. And I say should be not because there's a risk of it taking too long, but because there may be another thing that I'm doing that night. Later that night, early the next morning. I'm still figuring that out. I'll let you guys know as soon as I have that sorted. I have stuff I have to do as well anyway. And then Friday, we have our Patreon hangout and community night. If you're on our Patreon at patreon.com/dpadfm, there's a poll right now for our $9 patrons and above to decide what we're doing for a community night for this month. And then Saturday, I'm going to be jumping in a day stream. We're going to be doing a pirate-themed Mario Party Madness. And then Sunday, I'm going to be joining Shell for Sharing with Shell Shock. We're talking about Pokemania, the Pokemon craze of the mid to late 90s, and everything that came along with that. And then Monday of next week, we'll be back for more of this. We'll be, for sure, I think, getting to level 45. I don't know if we'll get past that. We might play more, but I don't think we'll get to level 46. I think 3-level streams are in the past. I think we're already done with 3-level streams. We're going to keep the 2-level streams going as long as we can. Oh, hilarious. Shad literally just messaged me on Discord being like, all right, I'm ready for tomorrow. And I'm like, oh, yeah. But yeah, so that's everything that's coming up. I don't have any other major things to talk about stream-wise. The Grand Champion Tournament, challenge.com/grand_champion_1, along with the various other links that are on there. The second heat ends on June 5th. I have a video coming up for that, hopefully tomorrow. If I can't get finished with it because of work stuff, then it'll be Wednesday. I'm already a third of the way through the edit of it, so I'm moving along pretty well there. Once I'm done with those, it'll go up. But I have at least another 2-3 hours, probably 4 hours of editing on that before it's done. But yeah, so that's gonna be it for tonight. Thank you guys very, very much for hanging. We're 8% of the way there. We're 8% of the way there. As we started tonight, we weren't even 7% of the way there. So we're definitely moving very fast if you look at it a certain way. I'm going to get out of here. Thank you guys very much, and see you later. Bye.